see if we have any questions on, we're going to jump down to those ordinances for final passage. We have two. We have one with the firefighter protective equipment, and then one with the certified local government grant. Are there any questions on that either of those final passages from anyone? Are those state grants or those federal grants? Do you know by chance?
The local government grant is a state grant. What about the firefighter one?
It's just more curiosity.
Chief Trott, that grant for firefighter equipment, is that a federal grant? State? Thank you.
State grant. Okay, thank you.
Good morning.
Okay. Well then, so I think those ones are pretty straightforward. So if nobody has questions on either of those final passage ones, again, the firefighter protective equipment, and then the certified local government grant, then we can hop on down to the ordinances for the first reading. We have 4 under ordinances for first reading. So I wanted to see if anybody had any questions on those ordinances that we could get clarification on. I'll just jump right in. With ordinance number 1, if you wanted to, we could, if we wanted to bring up Jason, we could as well, but just kind of explaining the streets paving for 2026, the 500,000.
Jason, will you just come up and talk about paving, our favorite topic?
I don't think that mic is on, so I don't know if that's picking up on you. Sorry, there you go.
How's that?
Better, yes.
Better? Okay.
Yes.
So ordinance number 1 and ordinance number 2 under first reading, we have the $500,000. That one is out of the paving and sewer revenue fund, and then the second one is the $1 million. That's out of the liquid fuels fund. And so that one in particular is split. Number 2 is split 600,000 going into the streets, and then 400,000 going into street lighting and traffic signals. So all total there, we have 1.5. You add those together, and those are just going to go in and feed our summer street paving.
And then just so it's, I guess, clarification also for the public, could you just explain to just how you guys go down through and maybe pick where you're going to address and how you identifying the areas most in need with the paving part?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, so what we have is we have roadway management technology software that we utilize it's mounted on our vehicles. It's GIS technology. It actually surveys the vehicle, the road condition, and it comes up with this thing called the pavement condition index. And so it basically ranks the streets. So that's a key component of it. But the other thing is also we divide by geographical area. I think everybody understands there's community development block grant areas, and then there's the outside areas. So we essentially then, then it becomes sort of a budget thing. We have a budget for the CDBG, then we have a budget for the remainder.
Thank you.
Titus, if I
And
could.
then we also take, the other thing is we also definitely take questions and comments from the public as we develop the list. We obviously get phone calls, people asking about certain streets, and we certainly go out and look at those, and then those weigh into the decision as well.
Thank you.
Could you say that again, please? Could you say that again? Did you take recommendations, or
Yeah. Yeah, when we get calls about, we get these quite commonly, we'll get calls about certain streets, and then we go out and we look at those. So we don't rely just on those.
They would be considered if a decision is made at that time as a condition of the road? Or what is that?
Well, yeah, so what we use the GIS technology, but we also go out in person, look at those streets. And then we also look at any ones that are, we receive special requests to evaluate.
And if you receive special requests to evaluate, and whatever rubrics to use to determine if that street should be added. That street could still possibly be added, or it could be paid even though it's not on the list.
Yeah, yes, that's correct, as we have the budget to do so. We have to obviously have the funds for that.
If I could just add, Dr. Titus, Jason and I met to talk about, how to announce the streets that will be paved this year. We agreed that, we didn't feel we needed an official press conference to say we're paving the streets. We should pave the streets. I don't think it's a news story. It's something we should be doing for our taxpayers. So we will, on our website, I believe next week or soon thereafter, have the map posted of where the streets will be paved. So we have all that information. We won't be doing an official press conference, as I noted, but all that information will be on our website. Some of the paving has already begun. Some of it is already underway as the weather is allowing, and we'll be posting the map so that everyone is aware of which streets are going to be paved this year.
Thank you. I know we've had issues in the past too, like when, especially working with like with National Fuel or some of the other groups that are coming in, we'll get something paved and then they come in and tear it right back up again. So just, I'm sure that there's thought into making sure that we're lining up those plans so that we're not paving just to have it re-torn up, especially with some of the development that's going to be happening too.
I can comment to that, too.
Yes.
Yeah, we coordinate closely, especially with, you mentioned NFG, but also with the Water Authority.
Yeah.
On all of their, street cuts and upcoming work, so that we can exactly, get ahead of the problem you just mentioned.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I think this is another area for us to kind of get creative on as we're looking at a lot of the development that is happening, especially some of the things that maybe have come before us in the development and the heavy equipment that's going to be coming down along the roads that we pave is just making sure that those who are benefiting maybe from some of the agreements that we're passing in some of these public hearings are also being cognizant of maybe some of the damage that they're going to cause to some of the roads that they're then going to be driving all their stuff in on. So I don't know what that creativity looks like. I'm being very vague with my words on purpose, but just as we start to plan and how that looks. Thank you, Jason. Yeah, thank you. Any other questions on those ordinances for first reading? I'll skip us down then to new business. We have several resolutions before us, some appointments to make. And so wanted to see if anybody had any questions on any of these appointments or with these resolutions coming forward. We also have the street naming too that we had tabled so that we could have Councilor Troop present.
I guess I just want to make a comment because I have asked in the past, like based off of who's up for the appointments, like the metrics. I know you guys want people to send in everything through the clear form, and then I'm assuming if they want the reappointment, if they still have time, they're like first in line, because I have had people who reached out and then I've referred them to whoever the liaison is for council. And I'm happy to see that one of the individuals who had reached out to me is being reappointed, because they reached out and they emailed me and I told them to reach out to you. So I just wanted to make sure that we are asking people to submit their resume and everything through clear forms. And if there's an appointment available, please do submit that to, online.
Yeah. I'll give kudos, some very big props right now to the administrative staff, especially Tori Williams on this one, who's spent a lot of time trying to make sense of just the various appointments and is it ClearGov or Clear Forms? Either way, it's very traumatic.
Yeah.
Software program and has worked very diligently to get it all in. So if somebody is submitting their application, which all is now on the website, it immediately dings here, and then as soon as they show that they meet the qualifications, I can approve, and then I get it to the liaison as fast as possible. So we're trying to streamline a process this website is making very cumbersome, but not the city's website, but the one that we're utilizing right now. So.
We will take funding for new software at any time council would like to
Yes.
give it to us. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's going to be a new thing that I don't think many municipal governments have really thought long-term on, but this is where the new shift of a lot of funding is going to have to be directed. I think, can you want to pull your, that way we can Yeah, there you go.
So that we don't just have a single vendor, or we enter into, I forgot the term.
Contracts?
Huh?
Long-term contracts?
No, contracts where we have to go and do a maintenance agreement with that person, and that we can't go outside, and we should look at, I know what the
No, yeah. and-
city
yeah.
code says, and lowest bidder and all of that, but at some point, it's gotta make sense, and you cannot, for instance, the county bought a $26 million radio system, and we pay $2 million a year in maintenance fees. And we don't want those.
Right.
And I forgot the term for it, where you can only deal with that one.
Yeah.
It's stuff.
No, I think that brings an incredibly valid point. We get a lot of, we saw this a lot the past couple of years where we were getting a lot of grants, and that's a one-time installment, but then we're left with a lot of the maintenance and the renewal fees, and the grants typically don't cover those. They're that one-time thing, so I think being,
And again, we got to be spendthrifty.
Yeah.
Now, because.
times are changing, yes. Any other questions or comments on the new business? I know we've got a lot there.
I got a question.
Yes,
I'm going to
please.
go back a little bit because I was trying to sign those things. Maybe I'm ignorant or something, but, they told me every question is a good question. So I'm looking at back to the streets and paving expenditure, the $500,000 under first reading. And it says unappropriated fund balance in the paving and sewer revenue fund. So that's a separate standalone fund, sewer revenue fund. And then the $1 million unappropriated fund balance from the liquid fuels. Where's that money coming from, the unappropriated? Is there a separate fund for that too?
Liquid fuels are state tax dollars that we receive back from PennDOT. So when we do paving, it's a mix of multiple sources.
Oh, no, I got the liquid fuels part because county does it
Yes.
too. I just want to know where that line number is, where it's being transferred from one line number to the other. And in the future, that would be really helpful to me. I'm a little slow. If they just tell me what line number it's coming for, so I can, I'm still the guy that reads the newspaper I like to turn the pages instead of the computer. And so the line number to line number transfer would be greatly appreciated.
And Councilor Horton, I think we have Finance Committee this morning. Maybe together we can look at the budget and look at that, because I'm interested as well. So we can ask
Learn
moving
together.
forward. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's something that we've talked about in Caucus, but then also in some of these finance. It's getting very hard, especially when we're seeing on the transfers. And if it's hard for us to kind of follow those numbers, it's got to be very hard for the public who aren't seeing the booklet and stuff in front of them all the time. So
I'll probably have a lot of these questions because I missed a month or so.
yeah,
And I'm playing catch up, and I'm learning.
I
Yeah,
think these questions.
most anything like that is on either the resolution or the ordinance.
Mhm.
The line numbers on where they're going and coming from.
Right, and so that gives me, back to my original thing when I first sit here. When I come here and just sign all these things,
Yeah.
it doesn't really give you a lot of time to go back and look over that stuff. And that's kind of like our one job. It's like the budget, and I think it's important, and it's too important for me to skim over. So even if it's there, if you could put it here too, that would be helpful. So I won't look all through it, and I can just do the reference. I can just go, okay, it's transferred from line number 2530 to line number 26. Yeah.
The city clerks get the actual ordinance, and so they just put the header on there, so you probably have them copy and paste that
However,
as well on. I mean, that information's with the city clerk's office. That would be a small change.
She said it's on there.
Yeah.
And so they do have it. What I'm saying, sir, is that it would be helpful to me if it's on the actual agenda where it's being transferred from. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah,
Why you
I-
make a big thing out of it?
I'm a little confused, but
Well, I think
we
no,
can
I'll talk to you about it.
Yeah, and I think that these are excellent points, and one of the ones that I was going to bring up is just figuring out ways that for us to streamline so that we're all getting the information the way we need it and can receive it, so that we're coming into the meetings as prepared as possible. So I'm receptive to any suggestions just like that, and please ask council, please bring whatever we can do to make this
You all just
Yeah.
give me grace for a little bit, because
But if there's a question here, I guarantee there's a question someone else is having, and then that also means the public has it too, right?
and I'll
So-
get better, because it's the first read. I could have asked that question in between reads or whatever, but
I think it creates great dialogue, so I appreciate and welcome, so thank you.
thank you, Brad.
Councilmember Horton, we also send you the full ordinance before it ever goes on the agenda, so that you can see all those breakdowns. And then I think you want line items from the budget book? Is that what you're?
I want to know where money's
put
being,
that in
if
the
you're
memo.
taking $500,000 and it's on our agenda, I want to know where that $500,000 is coming from.
Okay.
And where it's going by line number. It's really a simple ask. It's just transferring, to Jason's point. It ain't, we don't have to complicate it. We can talk about it offline.
Dr. Titus?
Yes.
Number 9, the food hall. It looks like the food hall's asking for.
Under new business?
To be, yeah, under new business, to like have people eat outside, it looks like. I think that's what it looks like. Will that include like, you can have a drink outside, or does anybody know that, or how does that work?
I would imagine the easement is just for tables on the sidewalk. That's what I would,
Okay. I just didn't know if you could have like order, sit outside and eat and then have a drink outside.
yes.
Okay.
And to Mo's point,
I think, famously, Erie isn't open
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to Mo's point, because I didn't get a chance, I'm a construction guy. I didn't get a chance to go over there and measure and stuff, but I wanted to before I voted on this, because is it going to be a railing? Is it going to be when we have Celebrate Erie Days? Is that going to be cut off from the public access? Like, you got to stand outside the rail unless you, How far is it going to extend? We just did one of those at Erie Insurance on 4th and French. And I can tell you, it's going to extend it's going to leave about that much sidewalk.
Yeah, that was
So-
my question. How much sidewalk is going to be left for the actual residents to be able to use the sidewalk?
Yeah,
Do we know?
because if you have Celebrate Erie or just, people hanging outside the food hall in the summertime, is it going to be restricted? Like, this is squared off, and you're at this much sidewalk, and
Because we
Shoot
have to
along.
make sure that there's always enough room for medical equipment to get through. And I see where sometimes we are making people have to go farther out of their way just to get to easy access points. So that's my concern.
No, I think these are incredibly valid questions, and so one of the options we have up before us is to maybe separate and table until we can get some of these answered, and then we have another meeting at the end of the month that we could bring it back up there.
well, it's my intent to move a motion to ask that it be tabled until we figure it out.
Okay.
I don't want to make decisions that I'm not comfortable with.
Absolutely.
I want to make informed decisions.
And I think taking this in conjunction and looking at just with the construction that's happening down there right now, I think that it's might be a bigger ask than what maybe we were even aware of, just because there's so much sidewalk already being blocked off
Right.
down there.
It's
Yeah.
going to be ADA, it's
Yeah.
going to be, it's a lot to consider. It seems like just an innocuous vote, but no votes are innocuous when it comes to our citizens.
Agreed. Thank you, Councilor Troop, for bringing that up. Any other questions or thoughts on anything before us?
I would ask that Councilman Horton continue to ask his questions here, because I think it helps everybody. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
We do have the public hearing today as well. Just to kind of, Councilor Pohl and I had the opportunity to meet with some of the administration to kind of go over just some of the historic designations. And I just want to make everybody aware as we're looking through this, there's a backlog somewhere around like 30 properties. And those all, because they change an ordinance, have to come in front of us. And so we're going to have decisions about when we're having the hearings, and maybe have to do some special hearings to get them through, because this is like, funding is getting backlogged for some of those individuals who would like to apply for grants to be able to fix up these properties. So we've got to come up with some ways to kind of catch up here.
Right, and not to add any trepidation, but there was 2 more historic properties that got approved by the HRC on Monday.
So
There's
about
stuff going
32.
through Planning
then.
Commission, but those will be coming to your office if they make it through Planning Commission for a recommendation.
So just to kind of give everyone a heads up on that, we might need to be doing some double up and do some special hearings here just to kind of move this process through. We had some very unique waterfront conditional hearings. We had another one coming up. Hopefully, that's not part of the norm. I mean, there's not a ton of, we've got things we've got to address there, but I don't see those public hearings taking up as much time and space for us as we kind of move into this historic review. So just kind of balancing those out. All right. Any other questions on anything that's before us today on the agenda? We've got about 5 minutes before we head into the main meeting, so if there are no other questions, we can go ahead and pause here and get the room set up so that we're ready for the public meeting. Ahead and call this meeting to order.
Roll call for the City Council meeting of Wednesday, May 6th at 9 a.m. Council members Titus.
Here.
Brzezinski. Here. Flores.
Here.
Horton. Here. Pohl.
Here.
Schaaf. And Troop.
Here.
Okay. This is going to lead us into, we did the roll call, right?
Pledge of
Just
Allegiance.
making sure, yes, the Pledge of Allegiance. So, Councilor Horton, would you be okay with leading us in the pledge? And the moment of silence.
I want you to know that every time I come and stand here to do the Pledge of Allegiance to this flag, it's really, really meaningful to me. I'm a veteran, although this flag in the Constitution has never lived up to what it's supposed to be. For me, I pledge allegiance to what it aspires to be. And that needed to be said this morning for the times we're in. Because I don't ever want this to just be a write-up, just something to be done. I want you to feel it.
Nobody can hear you.
My colleagues hear me. So with that said, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion to accept the minutes from the special meeting of April 30th, 2026, and bills for payment on May 8th and 15th. Members Brzezinski, Flores,
Yes.
Horton,
Yes.
Pohl,
Yes.
Schaaf,
Yes.
Troop,
Yes.
Titus.
Yes. So this is going, I just want to give everybody a quick reminder too. We're going to have a quick presentation, but today we also do have a public hearing. So when we hit that 9:30 mark, it's going to unfortunately fall right in the middle of that public comment time again. And so we'll have to pause public comment because we advertised that hearing at a certain time and we have to bring in the stenographer. So once that public hearing is done, we'll then resume back to public comment. So I just want to let everybody know that just what that time frame is going to look like. But I am going to go ahead and mic pass over to Councilmember Mo Troop as we step into this next part of the recognition.
Thank you, Dr. Titus. It is my pleasure to welcome Coach Easton Bozzoli, and he's the men's basketball coach at Gannon, and also Dorian Crosby, he's a wrestler for Gannon. We're going to honor them today for winning championships. It's definitely an honor to speak of them, because being an athlete myself, I know when I played at Central High School, which is now Erie High School, we went to the Western Final game twice, 2 years in a row, and we lost by a total of 7 points in both of those games. And the teams went on the next week to win the state title. So to be that close and not to make it, that lives with you for the rest of your life. So I'd like to congratulate them both. So we have some proclamations here that we're going to read. The first one is for, again, in basketball. It says, May 6th, 2026, is resolved by the Council of the City of Erie that whereas the City Council of the Erie City of Erie wishes to pay special tribute to the Gannon University men's basketball team on their NCAA Division II men's basketball national championship. And whereas Gannon University's Golden Knights men's basketball team made history upon winning their first ever NCAA Division II national championship on April 5th, 2026, defeating Lander 84-61 in Indianapolis. The 2026 NCAA two champions stand as a testament to grit, unity, and the enduring spirit of Erie. This group didn't just play the game, they carried a community with them. They represented more than a roster. They embodied discipline, brotherhood, and belief. The Golden Knights achieved a remarkable season, earning recognition among the elite programs in NCAA Division II men's basketball. And whereas head coach Easton Bozzoli, one of the fast-rising young coaches in Division II, joining Gannon as an assistant in 2023, then promoted to head coach in April 2024, and has made an immediate impact which led team to conference titles and national prominence. The success of the 2026 team reflects the leadership of its coaching staff, the support of the university, and the pride of the Erie community. And whereas sophomore Pace Prosser, lead scorer, was named the most outstanding player for the 2026 NCAA Division II All-Tournament team. And therefore, it is resolved, the Council of the City of Erie proudly recognizes and commends the 2026 Gannon men's basketball team NCAA Division II champions. Congratulations and continued success. Here's to the Golden Knights. 2026 will always be remembered. And thanks to my fellow council members for agreeing to this. And can we just have a round of applause for Coach Easton? And we're going to bring him up to the podium and then hand him the proclamation.
He wants me to say a couple words, so I'll say a couple words. God is good, and I'm really, really honored. Like, we represent a very small portion of Erie, but I love getting to represent this city. I love this city. It's a great place to be, so we're grateful.
Thanks, Coach.
Mr. President, if I may for 1 second, I was intent on bringing Mr. Witherspoon here to be with you and share your day. Unfortunately, he had a medical situation he had to take care of, so he couldn't be here. But he says, way to go. He was there when it was a college, like I was. We're proud of you. Thank you.
Before we recognize Dorian, just to give you a little couple things about Coach Bozzoli. He was the 21st head coach at Gannon. He's from Cranberry Township, PA, where he went to Seneca Valley High School. He attended Cedarville University in Ohio, and he brought Gannon's first NCAA national championship.
One more time.
Okay, so now we're going to recognize Dorian Crosby. Also got to give a shout out to him because he's a fellow educator over at Grover Cleveland. So he was doing that full time and wrestling at the same time.
Amen.
He was the first Golden Knight to win individual national championship in over 2 decades. He's from Erie. He's from Erie, PA. Graduated from Cathedral Prep, and he won the 2025-26 National Division II Heavyweight Championship. So I'll read the proclamation. It says, by May 6, 2025, by Councilmember Troop, seconded by Council members Brzezinski, Flores, Horton, Pohl, Schaaf, and Titus. Resolved by the Council of the City of Erie that whereas the City Council of the City of Erie wishes to pay special tribute to Gannon University's Dorian Crosby, who achieved national distinction by winning the heavyweight title of the NCAA Division II Wrestling Championships. And whereas Dorian Crosby, a proud native of Erie, Cathedral Prep, and Bucknell University graduate, representing Gannon University working on his master's degree, has demonstrated exceptional dedication, discipline, and perseverance in the sport of wrestling. He has exemplified the highest standards of athletic excellence and sportsmanship. And whereas in March 2026, Crosby achieved national distinction by winning the heavyweight title at the NCAA Division II Wrestling Championships, securing victory in dramatic fashion and completing an undefeated season while being a full-time teacher, student, father, and husband. This recognition stands as a testament to his dedication and as encouragement for future generations to pursue excellence in all endeavors. Crosby's accomplishment serves as an inspiration to young athletes and citizens alike, demonstrating that hard work, resilience, and commitment can lead to extraordinary success. And whereas this historic achievement marks the first individual national wrestling championship for Gannon University in approximately 25 years, bringing pride and recognition to the university and the Erie community. His father, Melvin Crosby, introduced Dorian to the sport of wrestling. They're the only father-son duo from Erie, both winning PA State Wrestling Championships. Dorian credits his wrestling style from his father and his success from years of influence and support. And now, therefore, be it resolved, Erie City Council honors and celebrates Dorian Crosby for his outstanding achievement as a national champion, and we recommend him for his and we commend him for his contributions to the team, his university, and the community of Erie, Pennsylvania. Let's give Dorian a round of applause.
Sure. First thing I want to say is all glory to God. And I just, having the backing of the city of Erie and just being born and raised here and having that pride of wanting to bring glory to the city of Erie and bringing that recognition, going to Bucknell for 4 years and knowing, oh, well, I have an extra 2 that I can come home and wrestle. So just wanting to bring that glory and honor to both God, to the city of Erie, and to Gannon University. Thank you.
It's going to feel like a hard shift, and I don't mean to bring us right back into the business, but I do need to bring us right back into the business. But congratulations again to both the proclamations that were awarded. I'm going to ask if there is anybody here to speak on a repository sale. You can come, yep. Repository sale, yes, come right up here to the mic. Make sure you state your name, and then we will have some follow-up questions. Yes, sorry, and your municipality.
I'm Darnell Ramsey. I purchased some properties from Repository, I want to say 14 years now. And at the time, I was unaware that there was liens, and I just found out last Tuesday that there are. So I'm hoping council will take a look at that, because it's up there.
Can you state what municipality you live in, sir?
Here.
Erie?
So,
Okay.
yeah, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You didn't hear that part of the question. It's okay.
I think so. What would be helpful is
The address?
we're going to have to get the addresses and stuff. But if we could connect with you after and just get the documentation, we can't make a ruling or make a motion up here from this today. But if we could have the information, we can kind of see how we can guide and connect. So even if you touch base with the clerk's office after, then we'll make sure that we can guide you in the right direction.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, the clerks will take your name and all your information.
Okay, thank you.
14 years is a long time.
Is there anyone else here to speak on a repository sale? Anyone here to speak on a repository sale? Anyone else for repository sale? Okay. We will move into the public comment. I do want to, again, give the heads up. We are at 9:18. That will give a couple residents an opportunity to speak. And we're going to move into that hearing at 9:30, so I don't want it to feel like I've abruptly cut you off. Just please be mindful of that timer that we have set. When you come up to the microphone, make sure you state your name and your municipality so that we can have it for the record. And again, you have 5 minutes, so whoever would like to come speak.
Elizabeth Stanton, Harbor Creek. Private ownership of land is a cornerstone of capitalism. Let us go back in history to when it all began in the USA, 1493 AD. Yes, you heard me correctly, 1493 AD. Ocean explorers from Europe wanted authority to claim new lands for their homelands. The doctrine of discovery of 1493 became a legal document whereby European explorers could claim the land of any people group that were not Europeans, exploit their labor, and confiscate their resources, ignoring the sovereignty of the indigenous inhabitants and establishing European superiority. Thus, European powers colonized the Americas, Africa, Asia, and Australia. The doctrine of discovery became an active, foundational legal document in the USA courts. In 2006, the Supreme Court case, City of Sherrill versus Oneida Nation of New York, Judge Ruth Ginsburg argued and won the case against returning sacred ancestral lands to the Oneida Nation using the doctrine of discovery, asserting that sovereignty ownership did not belong to the Oneida Nation. By doing so, she reinforced a colonialized framework which was racist and unjust. Let us go back a little further in time to antiquity, 507 BC, to Athens, Greece. The Athenians are credited with establishing the world's first so-called democracy, ruled by the people. However, only free land-owning Athenian men were defined as citizens. Women, slaves, and foreigners were excluded. The USA founding fathers modeled the Athenian governance, ruled by the people, in establishing the so-called American democracy, which only white, land-owning men could vote. Ownership of land is a finite resource that tends to increase in value over time, leaving a legacy that lasts for decades. Private land ownership can lead to significant wealth accumulation, creating great wealth disparities between the haves and the have-nots. I propose that the Erie City Council, along with the Mayor's Office, initiate a free training for long-term, low-income, first-time landowner residents of Erie City to be educated in how to form a sweat equity co-op ownership of repository properties for rehabilitation, teaching them how to become legal entities with bylaws, how to be partners with local nonprofits like City County Land Bank, how to identify and acquire repository properties, how to manage the principles of sweat equity ownership, how to seek technical training in building trades at Erie Community College, and how to master the protocol of standing before city and county councils with their business model, their mission, and their vision statements. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Deontay Cooley, Erie City resident, lifelong resident, and I'm here today to speak to my concern as a black man, but my thoughts and my feelings about the city of Erie and how I believe we as black people are not being recognized, not being acknowledged, or just not being considered. And when I say that, I know a lot of people are, oh, we are. And my issue is we're continuously recognizing and acknowledging the same black people that we always have done. And those things have gotten us little to nowhere when it comes to the black community. And we all know what I'm talking about. And then recently, there was a status on Facebook from the Erie City government about the SPCP, whatever it is, and they was able to recognize different nationalities, but for some reason, black wasn't on there or African American wasn't on there. And then it was revisioned the following day to where it was included on there. And like, to me, that's like playing in our face. And the reason why I say that is because if the President of the United States would have made a mistake like that, people would have went crazy. If it would have been any demographic of any people he would have forgotten about and then came back and made, it would have went crazy. So we can't allow mistakes like that to happen and accept mistakes like that happening just because and say, oh, we don't know. And then especially for me to get a follow-up call, if you can call me after a mistake was made, then I can receive a phone call before a decision was made, because I believe myself that I have an impact on black people in the black community. And then on top of that, when I say that, the reason why I say that is, well, we don't know who to talk to. You all are watching my social media. Black History Month, I recognize 28 black people. One, who's not from here, which is Sojourner Truth, who's passed away. Two, Mr. Willis C. McAdory, who passed away as well. But other than that, there was 26 black people that I recognize in the city of Erie for doing good works in Erie, and I caption every single thing. So when I ask, when you all are going, and it seemed to be a lot of photo ops these days, when you're taking pictures in the Mercy Center, and you know, y'all was just down in Harrisburg, and it was 4 or 5 black people, one person who I believe was from Erie. Like, are y'all going to the places we talking about these corner stores with these skill games? But those people are trying to make a living. How about going and investing in those people and educating those people, because we don't like it, but they're trying to make a way for themselves. But what we can do is we can go to the Hammett Center, and we can go to the community centers and take pictures and say we're doing all these things with these leaders, but what about the people in the community who are living paycheck to paycheck trying to make a way? And I'm talking black people. We are not being talked about. We are not being represented from the faith-based leaders that you guys think that we are. We are not being represented by the community center leaders. The faith-based leaders, they don't even get along. The community center leaders, there's a position open right now. The JFK Center, I don't know what's going on with that. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with Mr. Hilliard. And Gary Horton got the UCEDC. Those people don't speak for the majority of the black community. And when you make mistakes like that, it is offensive. And then when you go back and say, oh, we made a mistake, sorry. No, that's not okay. Sorry is unacceptable, because what you're not going to do is continue to play with black people in Erie and not recognize us and not acknowledge us. And when I say black people, I mean the common people. I don't mean the pastor. I don't mean the executive director. I don't mean the people who who are photogenic and aesthetically pleasant to take pictures with, to go down here. And when I say that, I'm talking to Corey Cooks, the Janessa Nortons, the Curtis Joneses, the Brandon Mendozas. We all know those people can be in pictures. We all know Pastor Cook is a photo person. We all know Bishop Broad can take a good picture. But what about the people who are trying to make a business for themselves out of their houses? What about the people who are opening up these little corner shops that y'all want to shut down, but not realizing and recognizing these people are trying to make a way out of nowhere? How about investing in them? We can have public meetings for hotels. We can have public meetings for what we're going to do down here with the EDDC or Celebrate Erie. What about the poor black man who just put a quote-unquote casino in his neighborhood, and he doesn't realize he's poisoning his community because he's just trying to make a way? Have you went and took a picture in there? Have you did a walk and talk with Dario on Wednesday in a neighborhood where poor people are trying to make a way, just selling candy out of their house? People are selling single cigarettes. It's illegal. People are willing to go to jail. They are committing federal offenses because they are just trying to make a way out of nowhere. So when we talk about investing in the black community, it doesn't just mean money. It means time. It means resources. It means education. It means information. And it doesn't mean a pastor. It doesn't mean a community center leader. It doesn't mean the executive director. It doesn't mean Erie's Black Wall Street. It means black people who look like they are struggling but are trying to make a way, because we all aren't criminals. We all don't want violence. And I'm not coming down here to say you all aren't doing a job, but when it comes to black people and you make mistakes like how you made on social media the other day, it's offensive to me as a black man, because I fight every single day for the black community. I fight every single day for the Erie community, from any person or anybody that you can think of, and there's not a person in this room who can discredit me for the work that I do for not just my people, but for all people. But today I'm here for black people because what I saw was wrong, and I will not stop advocating for my people. Thank you.
Thank you. We're at 9:28, so we have to have the public hearing in 2 minutes. So you can speak, but just know that I'm going to disrupt your comment. We only got 2 minutes. If you wanted to wait until after the public hearing, then you wouldn't get disrupted, and you'll have your whole uninterrupted 5 minutes.
I'll just go quick.
Okay.
My name is Joel Miller. I'm from Summit, but I'm in my 49th year as a landlord in Erie, and during that entire time, almost all the properties were within the city of Erie, and in fact, all the ones we have right now are. And I am here to make a few comments about the proposed changes to the rental inspection program. I, for the past 14 years, have either been the president or vice president of the Apartment Association, which is the professional organization for landlords in this part of the county, and was involved when the ordinance was first enacted. And for the entire 6 years I was president, we were involved with a lawsuit with the city regarding the ordinance, which resulted in some very positive things being changed to it, particularly having units be able to go on a 4-year cycle as opposed to a 2-year cycle if they passed full inspection twice in a row on the 4 years or on the 2-year cycle, and also being assured that we could get our units a full pass if we corrected any deficiencies within 30 days of an inspection. Those are all positive, good things. From the beginning, the council was overwhelmingly in favor of outsourcing the inspections because it would save the city money due to not having to hire employees. And
I do apologize.
So,
it's 9:30, so I'm going to have us pause
okay.
here, and then we can read back.
Can I pick up again later then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. At this point, we're going to go ahead and move into the public hearing component, and I will lean into our solicitor to help guide us through getting everybody sworn in.
Just a quick reminder that this is it's a legal hearing, even though it's also a public hearing, so just ask everyone to remain calm. The presenters will go first, and then if anyone is for or against it, they can come up to the podium and offer their testimony. The testimony should be fairly simple. It should be your name, where you're from, and why you are for it or against it. Thank you.
I'll read it. If anybody's coming up for testimony, could you stand and raise your right hand, and the stenographer will swear you in?
If you're going to speak at the public hearing, this is a great time, even if you're not 100% sure that you might. If you think you might, go ahead and get sworn in. Thank you.
You swear and affirm that the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Please say, I do.
I do.
And this hearing is at the request of the Planning Department and the recommendation of the Planning Commission pursuant to Official Ordinance 80/2005 as amended, known as cited as the zoning ordinance of the City of Erie. We're having a public hearing to consider testimony regarding the request to designate the former Erie Manicure Club located at 1607 State Street as a historic building and site. Matthew.
Members of council, I'm Matthew Falcone. I'm the Cultural Resource Manager for the City of Erie.
Speak up, sir. I can't. I'm trying to take notes.
I will try. I'm very soft-spoken, so I'll speak directly into the mic. We received an application.
Get your name. I'm sorry. I didn't hear your name.
Matthew Falcone. I'm the Cultural Resource Manager for the City of Erie. So we received a nomination from the building's owner for the former Erie Manicure building to be considered a historic landmark. There is no cost to the city. This has gone through a bit of a public process already. It had a hearing before the Historic Review Commission on the 2nd of March. And during that meeting, the Historic Review Commission considered the application and public testimony and determined that the Erie Manicure did have reasonable cause to become a historic landmark. They also made a positive recommendation to you, City Council. It also had a hearing before the Planning Commission, in which the Planning Commission viewed the nomination in relation to the city's comprehensive plan, the neighborhood plan, and the historic preservation plan of the city of Erie. They also have made a positive recommendation to you, council, that this site be declared a historic landmark, which brings us to today. The building is located at 1607 State Street, and that is within the Sisters of St. Joseph neighborhood network. They were notified of this historic nomination and are supportive. Here you will see that the nomination relates to the tax parcel in which it is the entire city block. So the building and the surrounding parking lot. A few pictures of the building itself. This is the outside facing State Street. A few of the different architectural features of the building. You'll see the cornerstone, which was rededicated during a remodel of the building in the 30s. Some architectural ornamentation on right. Here you'll see the side, back of the building, and some interior photos as well. This is the second floor, the ballroom, and on right is the kind of stained glass light at the top. Here you'll see several different images of bars. On left is the bar that's part of the ballroom. On right is one of the several different bars on the first floor, which is social hall. The Metalcore Society was founded in 1871. The Women's Auxiliary of the Society was founded in 1885. They were not officially incorporated until 1889. During this period of time, there was a tremendous influx of German-speaking immigrants to the city of Erie. And one of the ways which all of these immigrants were able to kind of come together and build relationships and build a community was to establish these singing and cultural societies. The first building for the Metalcore was constructed in 1889, and over the course of the next several decades, there would be large renovations done to that building. The first was in 1935, then in 1946, and then again in 1970. There's a very large celebration, 1971 for the 100th year anniversary, and then the building's current owner acquired the property in September of 2018. You'll see here all those different iterations of what the building looked like over time. So on upper left is the original construction, and then on upper right were the renovations that were completed in round one, the 1930s renovations you can see in lower left, and then the 1970s renovation in lower right. What you see in the middle is a historic map of the property. The building, the Metalcore, is the kind of pink rectangle in the lower center. And what you see over time is that the Metalcore would use not only that building, but also the surrounding land for social functions. The very large yellow rectangle immediately next to it was an outdoor beer garden. It was a large wooden structure that was even larger than the building itself. It unfortunately was irreparably damaged during the Mill Creek flood. To go back to the HRC, they did provide a positive recommendation to you, City Council, because the building conveys historic significance through criteria A, C, and F. In our code, those criteria relate back to cultural history. It also relates back to the building's design, and then finally that it is a prominent landmark within our community. The city conducted an architectural survey in 2025. And the recommendations from that survey was that this building be listed on the National Register of Historic Places. And then taking it back into our plan, this meets several different kind of areas of importance for us. The city's historic preservation plan not only encourages us as a city to seek out and list properties that are significant to us, but that have cultural, social, and community significance. This building is absolutely gorgeous, but its true heart and how it has changed over time, it is because that building has served the needs of the German-speaking community here in Erie. The Planning Commission as well, as I mentioned earlier, reviewed this within the spectrum of city plans and found that its historic designation fits well. My recommendation is because the HRC and because the Planning Commission have reviewed this application and found that it not only has historic significance, but that it fits within our plans, my recommendation to you as city staff is that this be listed as a city historic landmark. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. I know that we also have folks from the community who wish to speak as well.
And just, I guess for flow, what we have been doing is having everybody kind of come up and testify, and then having council ask the questions. That way they have all the information, and then it's less having to come up back and forth and back and forth. So we'll do that if that's okay.
Of course. Thank you.
So if there's anyone else that wants to speak on behalf of the project or against, just state your name, where you're from, and if you're for or against.
My name is Hugh McCartney. I've known Julio for several years. I've never known him to purchase a building that he didn't improve. He has a good track record as far as that's concerned. He's also one heck of a software engineer. I don't know whether you knew that or not. But so his purchases are based on logic, and he's improved everything that I've seen so far. That's what I have to say.
Dora Sapola from Harbor Creek. I wasn't planning to speak. I just know Julio, and I've always found him to be an outstanding citizen, most helpful to so many people, and the building is extraordinary. If you're in it, I can only say I have lived in Erie a long, long time, my whole life, and I have been in few buildings that have the remarkable markings inside with handwork and things that just aren't done today. It's beautiful. It deserves the historic preservation. Thank you.
Anna McCartney, I'm from Northeast, and I just want to say this should be a given. As we tear down so many of the beautiful buildings that have been part of the history, this is one building. Boy, if we don't preserve it, we're making a huge, huge mistake. I think everybody here has probably been in that building, and it is one of the most beautiful. And the fact that Julio has taken it and really done what needs to be done to save it, we need to make sure that we save it in the city. Thank you.
Catherine O'Neill, Mill Creek. I'm just here to voice my support for this, and I'm sure it will be approved. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Edward Kranz. I live here in Erie, up in the Glenwood Hills area. I am a local business owner. One of my businesses is actually in the Erie Labor Temple, which is also owned by the Reyes family. In the time that I have known them, I have not seen a harder working family. Like literally, I would see them out on the property doing all kinds of yard work and construction and moving things around. This family is incredibly passionate about the American way of life. They absolutely are passionate about Erie, its history, its culture, the immigrants that helped build us up, and what they've been doing in these buildings, even the building that I am currently in the few months that I've been in it, They're restoring the ceiling of the great lecture hall on the 3rd floor. They've done a lot of work to the walls, the floor, the heating, the electrical. And this is coming out of their pocket. This isn't money that they're getting from taxpayers. I know I read some articles and people would comment about stuff like that because they're not fully informed. So beyond the historical aspect of this building, just the fact that you have someone who is willing to put in this much time, energy, and effort into a significant historical landmark, whether it's on the registry or not, is amazing. And I don't mean to insult, but you'd be foolish if you passed this up and did not approve it. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
I'm Patty Pelican, or Seaman, I'm sorry, and I'm from Erie, Pennsylvania.
Can you pull your mic down just a little bit there?
Oh, sorry. I'm Patty Seaman, and I'm from Erie, Pennsylvania. And I just want to say that the Manacor building has been part of my life and all the way since, and I'm an Erie native. And it's a beautiful building. It's part of what makes Erie Erie. And there's a lot of stuff being changed in Erie, and it's just nice to know that there's a building there that those of us who've been lifelong members would be, like a memory or just a history of what this is. It's a beautiful building. Julio is working so hard, and every time we go in there's always something going on, that he's doing some construction, and he's always behind. He's a wonderful, as that gentleman said, he's a wonderful Erie native, or not native, but a citizen, and he's very, it's just a beautiful building, and it should be a given. Okay, thank you.
I am Julio Reyes, Mexican, born and raised in Mexico City, and I am one of the most lucky people on earth. Married to my lovely wife, that is my partner for 44 years this coming September, and I want to give her credit for supporting all our family adventures and setting a good example for our 2 daughters and a granddaughter now. Her name is Lilia Reyes. Going back to this nomination and this building, when we set foot in this town, when I visited this town many, many years ago, traveling for business from Chicago to here in the middle of the night in the train, I came down and it was like a foggy, like I was stepping in another dimension. I was really blown away about the environment, the lack of care, the dilapidation around, and I decided to invest in this town in real estate. I'm a capitalist with a social conscience. And like all people already said, wherever I go, when I came to this country, I promised to retain the best values of my native country and family. And my wife and I promised that we were going to take only the best of both cultures. And wherever we go, when we leave, it's going to be nicer and better of how we founded it. The properties that we own, even the ones that we lost by eminent domain with some foolish decisions, we always left it far better than we found it. So, the Manacor is just one of many that we have restored and repaired. I believe that we are trendsetters. I really thank Matthew and the current administration for the work that they are doing. In about 30-something years around this town, and I call it Little Town, this is the first time ever that I have hope for the future generations. This historical preservation was long, long, long overdue. I believe that mistakes are still to happen, but as long as you guys think about the future, you have a big responsibility to say, we are doing this not for us, not for greed, not for money, not for lousy leaders, but we are doing this for your great, great, great grandchildren. And maybe one day, instead of being Little Town, it's going to be something that you guys could be in the historical records the way that my family is now. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
really proud of this day for many reasons.
Could you just state your name for the record?
Abdullah Washington, Erie, Pennsylvania. Thank you so much for council. I originally came up here just to speak about the street renaming for my Uncle Fred Rush, but I'll tell you a story, and thank you, Mo Troop. I was out playing baseball in our little backyard one time with Charles Rush, Fred's son. And for his age, he was really good. But my Uncle Fred decided to come out and give us a little pointers, which, oh man, you know, I felt like I was a little bit older than Charles. I felt like he was just criticizing me. He stepped forward, he said, "You're doing good, but I see you here, you're just trying to meet the ball, and you need to be concerned about follow-through. So many projects we have here in Erie, that's where we fail. Whether it's the Roger Young Park, right? We had the money allocated and everything, and somehow that hasn't come through. But we have an opportunity here with this man, Julio. Mr. Reyes has put so much effort into this building, and you know the historic value of this building because of all the controversy simply with the man coming and putting his bid on it and purchasing it. People left items in the building, and they were willing to fight over the possession of those items, even though they were there and they were agreed upon at the moment of accepting the purchase. We all know this is a historic building, but one of the things we have to follow through, right? We have to have the follow through. So this is a necessary action, and we appreciate the street naming for Fred because he's been a big community advocate and leader for some time, and we all should follow his example. We need to follow through. We need to make sure this building is marked as a historical landmark for our city and for future generations. And thank you very much, Mr. Julio Reyes and your family.
Is there anybody else who would like to make comment in the public hearing related to this matter? Okay, then I will open it up to the councilors if anybody has any questions or follow-up questions that we'd like to ask of anybody to help us with our vote and decision.
Mr. President, this is a no-brainer. My wife and I stopped at the old Manicor. I'm a lifetime nothing anymore because the Manicor as a club doesn't exist, but the building does. And Mr. Reyes didn't know who we were. We stopped in for a bite before going to a prep game. And he gave us a tour. And he showed us the things that he did and the things he had to clean up that were left not nice. I was very, very impressed. And I've followed him, I've watched him. He put those beautiful plaques, the glass things out in the parking lot, and somebody smashed one of them. Didn't stop him. He's still doing it. I have no problem with this at all. The man walks the walk, and there's no talk, and he gets it done. So I'm definitely in the affirmative on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Thank you, President Titus. It's always nice when you hear people say nice things about our citizens, and I feel some of those same things. I'm not here to talk about his character. I'm here to talk about a historic designation, and it is a no-brainer. I just wanted to comment, because, yeah, I'm going to vote yes for it. But I want to comment because we're talking about a historical landmark. We're talking about history. So I'm tickled to death to see a proud Mexican-American own that building. I was tickled to death when he bought it. My father was a 67-year member of Labor's Local 603. We spent a lot of time in that other property he owns. But what I want to talk about is the Manicor Club. I know, Councilman Horton always throw the water on everything. But I would be remiss if I didn't really talk about the history of the Manicor Club. And the history of the Manicor Club was a racist, discriminatory club where blacks weren't allowed in, and they certainly weren't allowed to be members until just a few years ago, maybe the 80s or late 70s. And I don't want that to get lost up in this historical thing. Everybody wants to talk about history except for black history. We didn't always have positive things about that building. And you bought that building, it's like a ray of light. It's like that represents change in Erie County. They're not the only ones. Siebenberger Club, all them, we weren't allowed in there either. I say that unapologetically. And we've made great strides because they got members in the Siebenberger Club now. They got members in some of them other social clubs that look like me. So yeah, Erie has made incremental progress. But boy, oh boy, are we so far behind. Mr. Reyes, it's a pleasure to stand in support of this project for you or with you. History is not always just brick and mortar. History is what it is. I don't care how they try to erase it. You can tear it off the Washington Mall. You can tear it out the Philadelphia African-American history. You can tear it out, but you cannot tear it out of the fabric of this nation and the ingrained racism. And Erie was not exempt. We're dealing with a lot of things we're dealing with now based on those 250 years. And as we get ready to celebrate this nation's 250th, every opportunity I get to remind, because you can't read it in the library, no, there ain't no guarantee you can read it there no more. They're taking it off the shelves. And they didn't sit me up here. You didn't elect me to come up here and to be like everyone else. I think God has me here almost like a conscience of a city. And certainly I see my son out there. I want you to know, Kennedy Horton, that your family fought a lot of stuff in this historical battle. We fought the Manicourt Club. My mother fought the Manicourt Club. She fought the Siebenberger Club and many others. And while we enjoy a really, really good name in this city today, in some corners, and those biblical principles she taught us about a good name being more valuable than silver and gold. So we don't have a lot of historical buildings in the black community here in Erie, PA. We got some, Cherry Street Church of God, little house on corner 3rd and Cherry, when all the black churches were on corners. And now they've grown into these big buildings, the ones Mr. Deontay Cooley was talking about, where we go for our representation, that don't really represent everybody. And so I'm gonna vote for this, man. My colleagues, I'm asking you to vote for it. I know that you will. But whenever the opportunity presents, if we're gonna talk about history, we're gonna talk about it all. And the history of that building was not a good one. And the last thing I'll say, because all of this stuff comes together, whether it's land bank, whether it's property. Whenever you're talking about property, we talk about Bo Bladen, who back in the 1700s, 1800s, what is now known as Cherry Street Extension, had 400 acres of land up there, kept it in his family for generations. When I was a kid, we weren't allowed up there. It might as well have been a sundowner town. We weren't allowed up there, Cherry Street Extension. But you go up there, still say Bladen Road. We don't have a lot of historical designated buildings. Hell, I bet blacks in Erie don't even own 400 acres collectively today. And that's immoral. And so when people come up here with their 400-year head start, talking about all their property and all their great history, black people got a history in this town too. Thank you. And I don't need no clap. It's just a fact.
Councilor Shaw. I don't have any questions. I am thankful for Mr. Ray's investment in the city. Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I approve of this designation, but I'm also really supportive of Mr. Julio and his continued effort to invest in our little city. I know that as somebody who found Erie, you have definitely put a lot of energy and money into our community, and it does not go unrecognized. So thank you very much for continuing to pour into our city, because you know the true potential we have, and you're starting to see that come forward. So thank you.
I am in support of this, and anything historic that comes in front of this dais, I will probably agree on, and with a good conscience, unlike some other things that come in front of us that we vote for, but we have a knot in our stomach doing it. This I'm doing with a clear conscience, and thank you for keeping this building up and make the community nicer.
Doc. I just want to say, sounds like Mr. Reyes, congratulations on your great ownership of the Manacor building, keeping the building. And it sounds like you're a great entrepreneur, but I also think you might be a teacher as well. Because I'm going to take one of your quotes and use it for myself. I am an educator, and I liked when you said, take things and make them better than when you find them. And I think that with my students, I will encourage them to be better than when they first step in the building, when they leave. So I am going to borrow that from you, but congratulations on your ownership.
I guess for me, there's not a question, but more of a call to action here. I think that there is an opportunity to elevate and all facets of history. I am very grateful that this is something, again, that it's an obvious yes vote of support for me. And I think my call to action will be back to you is to make sure that all components of history get memorialized in your steps forward. And I don't see any or have any reason to believe that it wouldn't, just seeing the work that you have done and the way that you show up for community. But that would be my call to action to echo and just support what Councilor Horton has shared. I think those words are very powerful, and I do think that we need to make sure that we're bringing them into every decision that we're making. And my call to action would be back to those who are in the community with what you do with these designations. As a governing body, can do so much, and really the power lies in your hands here. So thank you.
Mr. President, I do have a question for Mr. Falcone. If you would, you may have it on hand. If not, I can get it after the meeting. I know we're seeing a run on these applications for historical designations. What I'd like to see is how many applications asking for that designation. I'd like to see how many came in annually or since it started, and I'd like to see how many you approved, but I'd also like to see if there were any disapprovals.
Sure, I can get that information to you.
Great, thank you so much.
So is there any other testimony then for us to have within the public hearing component? Yeah, we can come. You can just wait till you get, that way it's able to be heard and recorded. Go ahead.
I want to mention something that is truly important in addition of the comments that I heard here. There is absolutely no argument that in history there have been abuses left and right, up and down. There is absolutely no question. But it is our responsibility to change the future. When we bought the Manacor, we went to a lawsuit because, like Abdullah says, they claim ownership of something that didn't belong to them. And then we stayed in court for 2 years, and we won. Actually, I was going to do my closing statement. My real name is Julio Cesar Reyes, which is Julius Caesar. And then I was going to say, Vini, Vici, and I got nervous. I had it. You know what I mean. Vine, vi, y gané. Vini, vidi, vinci. My family ganó en este caso. My family won in this case, okay? Now, I'm a little nervous because this is very important. Yes, I agree that there is a lot of nepotism in this town, like any other town in the United States. I believe that I never envisioned to see the country the way that it is today. But again, for the younger generations, you have an opportunity to change the future. Do not allow yourselves to fall into the old habits. Look at the future. My statement about leaving the places better than you found it is to really do your work, do your diligence, ask for information, recognize history, recognize the places, but more importantly, the same way that I supported the fight with the All For Ladies trying to keep the library public open is because the backroom deals, the nepotism, the criminality of trying to do what they want to do with no remorse, greed and nothing else without serious plan. There should be a good balance between government and private industry. Do not tolerate abuses. Watch to have everything ready. Mistakes are going to happen, but don't fall into the same trap. I'm very, very hopeful for the future. Just the simple changes that I have seen that Daria and her team has introduced, they are very, very significant and substantial. They are going to create results for the future. But if you yourselves allow to get into the bad habits, and then you are there for 100 years, everything is going to be exactly the same. And at the end, a building is a building. The human stories, the human capital is what really makes the difference. And I hope you really consider my words. Yes, it has been bad, but it could be better. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think that concludes everything then for the testimony part of it.
Yeah, I think we can close the public hearing now and officially no more testimony, and we can let the court reporter go to her next job and then carry on with public comment.
Okay, thank you. So at this time, we will go ahead and resume public comment again. We can restart with Mr. Joel Miller. I believe you still had a couple minutes left on your 5-minute public comment. So we'll go ahead and start it at we'll say that 3 minutes. We'll give you the 3-minute one.
Thank you, Dr. Titus, for allowing me to continue. Just have a few more things to say. What I was in the middle of mentioning, though, is that when the ordinance was first enacted, the council was very intentional and preferential toward having the actual inspections outsourced to, in this case, BIU. And the reason for that was to be able to go on a pay-as-you-go basis. You only paid for inspections that were done, and this kept employees and cars and other time spent by city administrators out of the program. Now, we met with BIU a couple weeks ago, and I understand that you have had some problems with the administration of the program on the BIU side. And we believe that BIU is now, with their new administrator for the area and new head of their office, in the position that they could mitigate the issues that you had concerns with in the past. In particular, I believe that they are in better condition to handle complaints, report information fully and accurately to the city, and to also work doing inspections later in the day than city employees are likely to be able to make themselves available for. So I understand that the amount that you paid them was substantial, but again, it's only a pay-as-you-go basis. It's not a set amount. So our one thing I would say is I understand your loss that you had at $130-some thousand is not sustainable, but we will say that since there's like 13,000 some units that are inspected in the program, simply raising the inspection rate or the fee for each year by $10, and we're not opposed to that because it hasn't been raised in the entire time that the ordinance has been enacted, would immediately eliminate that deficit. That's very simple math. I would suggest that you consider keeping on BIU maybe for another couple of years and let them see whether they can perform and prevent you from having to hire employees that perhaps become union employees, vested, vacations, benefits, all that stuff, and vehicles that you need for them that will actually, by doing so, will actually keep that out of the budget of the city and the program. So I make that suggestion that you consider that, and also consider that in the big picture, if you want real improvement in the housing in the city here, the best way to approach that is through incentivizing those that would build new units and maintain and rehab the existing units that we have, and not do anything to disincentivize those through more regulations, more oversight. You'll have the opposite effect that you want if that's what you do. So we met with Mayor Devlin and a couple of members of council a couple weeks ago, or no, last week, excuse me, and we all agreed that we'd get together sometime in the next few weeks here, and we look forward to that, to be able to have some input on doing the fine-tuning that would make this a better ordinance for everybody, and doing so before there's an actual version of the ordinance that is presented for reading. Just let's get together and talk about this ahead of time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kennedy Horton, lifelong resident of Erie, PA. I'm just coming down here to speak on the SPCP. The community has been asking for a civilian review board for years, long before this administration has stepped in. But in lieu of that, we have gotten the SPCP that was created, I believe, around the George Floyd protests. And that version of the SPCP was ineffective, and as more crises and situations arrive, the group hasn't shown up, and because of that, I personally, and I know a lot of other people in the community, have zero confidence that the new revived version will do anything different. And I understand, I guess, the need to put something out there, but I feel like I can only describe it as hasty. The city's rolled out who they expect to have a voice through the group-based seats, and they have neglected to include the most affected community, which would be Black people, Black Americans. And it just doesn't really make too much sense to me because the Latino, the New American, and the LGBT community have all been pinpointed and platformed as people that would have group-based seats. Not saying that they shouldn't have group-based seats, but if you're going to highlight these communities, why not highlight the Black community? When, we were expressing our displeasure on, I guess, who would be represented, what groups would be represented, we were told that the current, I guess, makeup of that was premature and that we'd get more information on Monday, which was yesterday. And the new information added African-American faith seats in lieu of the 2 regular faith seats, which I do believe the African-American churches, should have a voice. I don't know if we need two of those faith seats. We have Black churches, we have Orthodox churches, we have Catholic churches, we have synagogues, we have mosques, we have Sikh temples, we have Buddhist temples. Those faith seats get wiped out if we give 2 faith seats to Black people. And moreover, I do see that we'd have representation through the community centers, but, the passing of James Sherrod, the King Center doesn't have a director right now. I know Mr. Hilliard is over the Booker T. I'm not sure who's over the JFK. Out at the Quality of Life Center, their current director, I don't know. I don't know my uncle's title over there, but he's on the school board as well, so I doubt that he'd be able to work with the SPCP. So there's not really a lot of diversity in I guess, the black voice that we'd be showing. And the decision to add the 2 black face seats, I'd like to talk about how the black church has been in decline for years. And it's due to the stark difference in opinion and lifestyle that a black church person would have with a regular church person. And if you've been to a black church or grew up in the black church, you can see how the divide has grown. So that black faith-based point of view would not be the point of view of the everyday black person. And being involved with the church is great. You know, you're less likely to, I guess, come in contact with the police. But again, those people are less likely to come in contact with the police. So that, I guess, heavily prevalent voice on the SPCP, I don't think it would be as effective as possible. A lot of black churches have a, I guess, rolling pastor cycle. A lot of these churches don't have pastors from the city. They aren't really in tune with the city. I will say that some of our prominent black faith leaders, they do have things going on, but they also aren't progressive. They, you know, not to attack anybody, but they hang out with Trumpers. They hang out with people that are not pro-progress. And while they may do great in their silo, I don't think that they will be doing great for everybody, because if they did, then it would be happening already. Sorry, that's my time, but all in all, I do think that we should explore the Civilian Review Board. It's worked in larger cities than ours. And I think it'll be effective. I don't think that we should just roll out things just because something needs to happen. But thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name's Joe Sell. I am from Harbor Creek, but I will add that we started our family in Erie. I am a landlord. I am part of the apartment association. They just recently made me vice president, and I'm taking over the education. I would like to be part of the solution, not the problem. We have pride in our properties, in our city. It would be very easy for me to stand up and point fingers, and it would be very easy for you to point fingers at us, but that's not going to solve the problem. I will use the school district as an example. If you drive by the schools, there's a lot of garbage, a lot of trash. If we want to handle this situation, we need to teach our children and our residents pride. We all hear stories of the students making comments to the teachers try to stop this. It doesn't go very well. It's just something that I feel that we need to educate the whole population on this. We've had landlords that take very big pride in their properties, and they're getting letters now from code enforcement on large item pickups that are scheduled through the tenant/resident to be picked up. Is there any possible way that we could get some kind of communication between code enforcement and large item pickup? I personally know myself, I have been with the apartment association, and I was taught the correct way to maintain your properties, to do the correct things, to pay your water, sewer, garbage, etc. And if you didn't, you weren't part of the game. There's a lot of landlords, as I said, that are getting these letters, and it hurts their pride because they care a lot about their property. They feel like they're doing something wrong. Using a third-party vendor for the inspections, I feel keeps it more honest. There's not going to be favoritism. Again, I feel that they do a good job. There's been times that they haven't done a good job. I've told several of you about that we've got hit for, we've bought a property, they wanted drip pans put underneath the hot water tanks, which sounds like a minor problem. Well, just starting out, we didn't have money. It was $8,000 that had to be come up with, which I understand that that is safety, but that $8,000 could have been putting on a new roof. All we ask is that you work with us. Mr. Horton, I took a lot from your speech also because it makes me disgusted that certain people, because of their race, aren't allowed in clubs. That's not what I believe in either. And I'd like to be part of the solution, not the problem. And thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name's Brandon Penn. I am a City of Erie, I'm Erie, PA resident. I now have moved to Mill Creek. I was residing in the city for a while. I am also a landlord. I'm the current president of the apartment association. I'm a realtor, a property manager. I do control quite a bit of the rentals in the city. The main thing I wanted to talk about today was actually thanks to Dr. Titus. At one of our meetings, he asked me, how do we come up with rent? How, do we decide how much rent to charge? And there's a lot of factors that go into this, but I just kind of wanted to give you all a case study that will be on recording that you can go back to, and anyone watching at home can see. There's a current duplex on the market, 1050 West 20th Street. It's listed for $120,000, $119,000. So if somebody were to buy that property, your mortgage with 20% down is going to be about $865 for an investor. It's going to be cheaper for someone who is going to live in the property because they can get a residential loan. I don't know how many people know, but investors pay a higher interest rate to a bank than someone who lives there. Your insurance is going to be about $100 per month. Your taxes at what it's currently assessed, which is $74,000, is going to come out to about $260 per month. Your monthly maintenance costs, there's a lot that goes into this, but we usually say about 10% of the rent for maintenance, 5% for capital expenditures, which are things like roofs, water tanks, furnaces, the big ticket items. So the maintenance, about $185 per month. Capital expenses, another would be about half of that. Insurance, $100. Your vacancy, again, I use 10% for that, but a lot of this stuff you can't. Nobody knows the future, right? So these are just parameters that we use. So using a 10% vacancy loss, that would be at $185. So your total expenses for the month equal about $1,880. So that's going out the door every month. Average rent for this property, there's a 2-bedroom and there's a 3-bedroom. In my opinion, your average 2-bedroom, because this is average condition from the pictures that I saw, floor was a little dated, kitchens were a little dated, but they were in good shape, obviously lived in currently. But I would put a 2-bed in this area at about $850 and a 3-bed about $1,000. That means your total monthly income is $1,850. So you're losing $30 per month using those numbers. So what that means is somebody who buys that property is going to have to increase the rent at least by $200. So $100 per unit or however that comes out to. That would give you a net of $170 per month. A lot of people are going to want more than $170 per month net income for all the stuff that we have to deal with. I mean, managing a property correctly is not easy. But the biggest issue that we have is not necessarily a rent problem, it's an income problem. I have plenty of people that apply for my apartments every day that make well over the 3 months income requirement that we have. The issues we run into is folks on SSI, disability, retired folks on set incomes. I've got no idea how the government decides what they're going to pay these people, but I have no idea how they're living on it. they're going to need government subsidies, rent subsidies, the government's going to have to step in for them. But our average income before COVID, I was seeing applications, most people were making about $10 per hour. Now people are making about $15 per hour. That's great, except for the fact of all the costs that have gone up. Pre-COVID, people would have been really happy with a $15 an hour job. Now that barely makes ends meet. I don't know what anybody on council is looking at trying to do to bring in businesses that will pay higher. We have 3 huge college campuses. Okay, sorry, it's my time. Thank you for letting me talk. You all have a good day.
Thank you.
Michael Keys, City of Erie. First, I'd like to congratulate Gannon University and Mr. Crosby on their achievements of national championships. And so myself and I was on, his father was our heavyweight when I was in high school. And I am also a alumni of the Gannon wrestling team. And so it is really big for us to have another national champion. So I'd like to talk really about inclusion. And so, I did see the SPCP Facebook page posting, and so I'm not as mad as you could say that there were set-asides and we weren't set-aside, but the problem is that if there are no set-asides allowable anymore, then it should be across the board. You cannot say that you cannot make a black seat, but you can make a LGBTQ seat. You cannot say that you can't have a black seat, but you can have a Latino seat. Either it's all in or it's all out. And then we have to feel on whether we deal with our conscience on how we staff these things and how we look at from a holistic point. What I do know is that 25% of the city are black people. The official statistic says 16, but then there's 10 that say they're 2 or more races, which are mostly black and Latina and black and white. So 26%. 1 in 4 are black people. And that's not including the people who are from somewhere else, foundational black Americans. And it's important that we do not get stepped over. If you go to the city's website and you look at the mayor's councils, and I know some of these predate you, you have the LGBTQ plus advisory council, the New American Council, the Roundtable on Disabilities, the Strengthening Police and Community Partnerships, the Latina Advisory Council. And I know during the last administration, we had a liaison to our community. And I'm asking, and I know that the budget was done before you took your seat, but I'm formally asking that you restore that position and that you find somebody that is trustworthy in our community that can relay this information to you. Because I agree with Mr. Cooley that sometimes there's a disconnect. And so you got to find that person who can go from the 5th floor down to 5th Street. And so there's may not be a lot of them, but the right person is out there. We need a staunch advocates for our community because inclusiveness is very, very important. I also want to report that, there's a report out for housing that says they're going to increase the number of housing by 250 units over the next 5 years. And I come to report that we're actually going to increase it by 276 units. What's not in there is a project that is going on the east side right now, where 26 new units of affordable housing, new and rehabilitated housing is going on right now, but it's not in the book. And what we have to do is we have to quit choosing who wins and who loses. That's why we're all losing. We have people who are in the plan who have never built anything, to my knowledge. How do you get them a priority? And some of them are in Harrisburg right now. But how do you get them priority over people who have been building affordable housing for 20, 30 years right in our community? It doesn't make any sense. And when he talked about nepotism and then he talked about cronyism, we have to stop. We really do. You know, the real argument is about how we spend the next $800 million that comes in our community. Part of the housing plan is if we give you $70 million, we'll make sure you can have an affordable house. I don't know if that makes sense or not. I think maybe there's better ways of investing the $70 million. But what I will say, the study did say we have an income problem. We have to raise the income, minimum wage is going up, but one of the converses that was true, that we don't have enough housing for the right people. The people who are going to be on the lower end of the wage scale can't afford the average house that's $140,000, $160,000. But you know what they can't afford? They say 60% of the houses on the East Bayfront are valued at less than $60,000. You know what they can't afford? They can afford that. And you know what? They take $700 off their monthly bills if they buy that house on 5th and Reed instead of rent that house on 5th and Reed for $1,200. There is a way to do everything. We just have to make sure everyone's included. We have to make sure we use all of our resources and that we plan smart, because we can't plan that we're going to have a permanent underclass that's going to fill this housing so that we can stuff the coffers of the people who are in this clique. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Dave Eulig. I live in the city of Erie. I'm here to request that you restart the process to examine a home rule charter. The most pressing problem facing the city is a financial problem, and the city has very limited tools to fix this problem. Home rule offers additional tools to fix our financial problems, and you owe it to the residents to at least investigate these tools. We may decide not to proceed, but at the very least, we will be better informed about the tools available to fix our financial problems. Thank you.
Hi there, Cindy Triber from Erie, living in Edinburgh. First of all, I just want to briefly mention along the same topic that we seem to be addressing. I just received my right to know request from the Erie Police Department as I was sitting here. Disheartened to see that there are now only 7 black officers, down from 11 or 12 out of 194 to 200, and that there are no current tracking mechanisms for even tracking racial demographics of who is applying. Wondering why we can't take some of that $500,000 that we just allocated to POW and maybe get Tom, who is a great guy, out in the community with some African American people and start talking about why that is. I'm here inquiring about the details surrounding your support and budgetary allocation of approximately $87,000 for opening a new bureau in Erie County Probation, thus closing Erie County Reentry Services and Support Alliance. This alliance was created simultaneously with Unified Erie to address violence in our city and joined with Unified Erie as part of their 3-prong approach, which has been praised by our Lieutenant Governor and is recognized as an integral part of this administration's initiative to eradicate violence. Its success rates, and you have all received these emails, I sent them this morning, its success rates can be shown from 88 to 99%, has a 7% Recidivism rate, one of the lowest in the country, compared to Erie County Probation, who has a 40 to 50% recidivism rate and a statewide rate of 60%. For close to a decade, ECRSSA has hard copy detailed, been collected and methodically calculated by Mercyhurst Civic Institute, along with criminal justice program students. In 2025, a program was developed by current staff to better track successes while protecting HIPAA private information, thus the metrics you see here. American social philosopher Eric Hoffer stated that every great cause begins as a movement, becomes a business, and eventually degenerates into a racket. What began as an altruistic venture has seemingly gone astray, as is often the case when a passion turns into profit and power over public good. And what began as a data-driven method to create tangible change has seemingly now forgotten who the change was created to help. This program was simultaneously destroyed by this city's funding and the county's funding on February 26th, while in the same breath, $371,000 was also found to miraculously fund its replacement at Erie County Probation. The metrics created by a dedicated, responsive, justice-focused staff was somehow manipulated into a misrepresentation of the future success of a program that's focused on punishment and monitoring instead of rehabilitation and reentry into a hopeful life. The closing of ECRSSA creates a huge gap in resources for over 500 people. Its closing affects multi-million-dollar industries who rely on dedicated employees. These are some of the industries whose workforce are provided by ECRSSA. Some of these employers are now looking at stagnant economic growth and the inability to take on contracts that will triple their revenue as an additional $30 million because of the workforce that has now been eliminated. The plethora of confabulations and inconsistencies that have been provided as to why this program is being eliminated are getting a little bit ridiculous. Here are some. Reentry is not ending. It is. Reentry is still available in Erie County. Correct. At a 50% failure rate. YMCA employees were offered positions in the new structure. Were not. And some can't even work for Department of Probation because they have prior records. It will be under the probation budget, but not managed by probation. On the job listings by Erie County Human Resources, it says Department of Probation. They were not offering intensive care management, mental health, substance abuse, and now will. Here are the 30-some fellow resources that this program works with in the city and the county to provide resources to these clients. Mental health, substance abuse, housing, transportation. It was moved to follow the new model for reentry in a more aligned way, which is incredibly insulting to the current team, including people who sit in this room. It is being moved to adhere to a model assuring the highest quality of service to clients, that 50% failure rate that we're talking about. And while the transition is taking place, services will remain available, even though only 2 of the 5 positions have been filled as of today. The program ends Friday. Most recently, we have been told that the program was going to be closed regardless, because and that this agreement between the city, this groundbreaking agreement, was done to continue services. In closing, I want to show you this. This is the funding this program has received, $2.8 million. Their annual operating budget, that means $325. They only needed $350. And they had 2 years worth of grants, $100,000 in January, and private donations to continue for the next several years.
Thank you. Is there anyone else for public comment? Is there anyone else for public comment? Anyone else for public comment?
No, I think he.
Okay.
Morning. My name is Alan Brown. I'm formerly of Erie. I now live in Northeast. I am also the senior case manager at what was the reentry program. I'm sorry. I am also the reentry senior case manager. I was the first kid that this city, unfortunately, certified as an adult, and I was given a life sentence. I served 47 years in prison. During that time, I educated people along with myself. I taught illiterates how to write. I never failed anyone. I didn't fail myself. I didn't fail my family. I didn't fail the community that thought I was worth throwing away. So I came home extremely motivated, having stayed in academics for 47 years. That's a lot of studying time. I did college, got a master's status as an engraver in the federal system. So I came home with jet fuel. I expected to stumble and fall because society tends to have a staunchly conservative view that once a person goes to prison, once you're behind that fence, you no longer have any redeemable qualities. I say different. Someone said a statement here a few minutes ago that says, take things and make them better and you will be fine. I say, what say all of you in your heart for, even if it was in naivety, funding a program that is actually the assassination of a program that has flourished to Erie. All of Erie's largest industries have dozens of our people there. McShane Welding, one of 2 companies in the United States that makes cabinets, medical cabinets for medical people. They have 30-something of our people there. Don John Shipbuilding, the Saints who went down and rescued the ship out of Baltimore's harbor when it hit the bridge and went down, have 30-something of our people there. We have a number of other places. Erie's Magnetics, a global entity with companies in 8 other countries, has some of our people there. Erie was not failing with us. Erie was thriving. Industry chose to come to us because we vet our people. We educate them in the ways they need to be educated. We supply them with everything they needed to succeed. For my first 2 years in this program, I lived in Fairview, and I rode a mountain bike from Erie to Fairview every day, regardless of whether it was winter, rainy season, because it was far greater than I. I did not want anyone else to fail. I didn't want to see people come to Erie and not do better, and we did. People who were from Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, whatever, were asking for home plans here because we have the reputation of being successful with everyone. We never turned our back on anyone. The funds that you may have thought you were helping a program with really killed us. So I say this. I think after 47 years of incarceration, never looking down on anyone, never having any negative views about anything. Hell, I was doing reentry before I even knew what it was. So I was born to this task. I just didn't know it. To stand before you and say, tomorrow, I won't have a job because I made a lot of people successful in this city. It is a very sad notion to have. This is where my parents raised my siblings. This is where I returned to because I had faith in this city. And I wanted to prove them wrong, that I was not a kid worth throwing away at 16 years old. I came home at 62, and I never let myself down on any level. So I hope that you do find the good in your heart and realize that you didn't help an organization when you gave them this money. It was as if you unknowingly hired assassins to kill one of Erie's best programs. There won't be another reentry. You gave our program to probation, whose job describes them as people who lock others up. We were forced to go move in a building with them. The first thing I seen on a refrigerator was a congratulations from their director for having successfully locked up 200 and something people.
I do apologize. That was that 5-minute timer.
Well, I thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Shraddha Prabhu from Erie, PA. And just wanted to kind of share some thoughts on some of the things that have been said today. I think when we talk about communities in silos, we decenter equity. When we truly center equity in civic life and society, we cannot ignore the nuances of intersectional identities and lived experiences. So we have to ask about whose voices are missing. Where are our Black trans women? Where are they represented? Where are our unhoused folks, our non-binary immigrants, people with intersections of disability, citizenship status, their experiences of being part of this community, of our city, their experiences with representation, but also their sense of belonging and safety, their interactions with systems, whether it's the healthcare system or the police. And I think we assume that, or maybe that we have to be more mindful and intentional about not thinking about communities as monolithic. And I think a lot of community members spoke to that. It's not an easy job. And I think that's what makes democracy hard, but I think that is what we need to do and be intentional about when we talk about equity is pay attention to whose voices and experiences are excluded. Thank you.
Anybody else for public comment? Anyone else for public comment?
My comment is, just this morning.
Could you just state your name and municipality? Just your name and where you
My
live.
name is Arthur Gilmer, and I live at 346 West 25th Street, which is like 3 doors down from St. Vincent's. I called about an incident. I woke up at 1:30 this morning, and there was somebody standing over my head. And I didn't know who it was. I didn't know how they got in. So when I call, I have the 911 number on my phone 3 times. And I said, well, I thought that when you call, they automatically get your phone, your address and stuff. So I kept going in this pocket. I didn't know the person. He kept going in his pocket. So I'm petrified. I'm like nervous, right? Because I said, I don't know what he's doing, you know, so I was scared. So, Jim, so I was scared to say anything. So I finally got up. I went downstairs. I called some relatives. My nephew, he works for Albion Prison, and they all came over. And I kept saying, well, how did they get in? I didn't know because my side door is double bolted. My front door is double bolted. And my nephew walked through the house, and he said, this is how they came in, because the door was broken loose, you know, and stuff on there, which was my patio door. So I said, well, I was nervous, couldn't even talk. And I said, well, okay, that's how they got in. But the cops stood at the door, and they talked to me. They kept saying, you have ID? And I was in my underwear. I said, well, I do. I said, but you can take my key, because I leave my wallet and stuff in my car, and you could go in there and get my wallet out. And they kept saying, well, do you own the house and stay here? You know, they asked me all these questions. I said, well, the problem is this guy is still upstairs in my bedroom, and I don't know who it is. They never walked through the house. They never left me a report. He had a band on his arm like he had just escaped from the hospital or something. So when they came out, I asked them, I said, you're not going to write a report up? They didn't do that. They didn't write up no report. I don't know who the guy is. I was too nervous to take a picture. And so I called the emergency number 3 times because the number is on my phone. And they kept asking me. And I know the questions, I was just too afraid to talk because he kept going in his pockets. And he just kept looking at me. And I said, how'd you get in my house? He just like, like that. He wouldn't even say anything. So I was afraid, So when they came, I act like I was the person that broke in my own house. So when they left, I had no more information. It was my nephew that came and found out how they came in. Yeah. So that's why I came down. They had told me to get a report. Bishop Brock called me, and he said, you should have called me. But anyway, I didn't know what else to do, so that's why I came down here this morning. And I was just telling my cousin Mike, and he said, go on in there, and they need to know that, So that was it. But I was afraid, I didn't know what else to do, because I was going through a lot of stuff. I was dealing yesterday with my dad. They trying to put my dad in the nursing home. I was just frazzled, So that's what I came down to make a complaint for, because I never got a report. Police, they never wrote me a police report. And they stood right at the door and talked to me at the door. That was it. And I kept saying, the issue here is the guy's still upstairs. I said, so you need to get up there and get him. So they handcuffed him and brought him down, and I have 0. No report.
So we don't usually go back and forth, but I can't let you walk away without saying I'm really sorry that this happened, and I'm going to lean into the administration, and I know that they will follow up. And I'm sorry that you had to come down here to share that.
Okay.
Thank you.
President.
Yes.
Mr. Gilmore. I want to give you my phone number, because I know that Chief Laura and I will get you an answer.
Yeah.
I'm giving you my number because I'm the liaison to the Bureau of Police.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Chief Laura doesn't enjoy sitting here listening to that. But we'll get you some answers.
All righty. I sure will.
Right, Chief?
Thank you, sir.
Get you some answers.
Thank you. Is there anyone else for public comment? Anyone else for public comment? Anyone else for public comment? Okay, we will go ahead and move on.
Ordinances for final passage. Council file number 16603, official ordinance 24-2026, an ordinance appropriating the sum of $16,136.55 from appropriated and anticipated revenue from the Office of the State Fire Commissioner's Grant for firefighter protective equipment. Sponsored by Councilmember Pohl, seconded by Councilmember Brzezinski. The Council File Ordinance Bill number 16603, and now known as Official File Ordinance 24-2026, be finally passed by City Council. Members Brzezinski?
Yes.
Flores?
Yes.
Horton?
Yes.
Pohl?
Yes.
Shaw?
Yes.
Troop?
Yes.
Titus?
Yes.
City Council passed Official File Ordinance 24-2026 finally by yeas 7, nays 0. Council File number 16604, Official Ordinance 25-2026, an ordinance appropriating the sum of $2,150 from unappropriated and unanticipated revenue for the expenditure thereof for a contribution from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania fiscal year 2025 certified local government grant acting through the Pennsylvania Historical and Museum Commission. Sponsored by Councilmember Flores, seconded by Councilmember Pohl. The Council File Ordinance Bill number 16604, and now known as Official File Ordinance 25-2026, be finally passed by City Council. Members Brzezinski?
Yes.
Flores?
Yes.
Horton?
Yes.
Pohl?
Yes.
Shaw?
Yes.
Troop?
Yes.
Titus?
Yes.
City Council passed Official File Ordinance 25-2026 finally by yeas 7, nays 0. Ordinances for first reading, Council File number 16605, an ordinance appropriating the sum of $500,000 from unappropriated fund balance in the paving and sewer revenue fund for the expenditure thereof. Funds will be used for the 2026 streets paving, sponsored by Councilmember Troop, seconded by Councilmember Horton. The Council File Ordinance Number 16605, having been read, is hereby adopted on first reading by City Council. Members Brzezinski?
Yes.
Flores?
Yes.
Horton?
Yes.
Poole?
Yes.
Shaw?
Yes.
Troop?
Yes.
Titus?
Yes.
City Council read and adopt Council File Ordinance 16605 by yeas 7, nays 0 on first reading. Council File Number 16606, an ordinance appropriating the sum of $1 million from unappropriated fund balance in the Liquid Fuels Fund for the expenditure thereof. Funds will be used for the 2026 streets paving and street lighting traffic signals. Sponsored by Councilmember Troop, seconded by Councilmember Horton. That Council File Ordinance 16606, having been read, is hereby adopted on first reading by City Council. Members Brzezinski?
Yes.
Flores?
Yes.
Horton?
Yes.
Poole?
Yes.
Shaw?
Yes.
Troop?
Yes.
And Titus?
Yes.
City Council read and adopt Council File Ordinance 16606 by yeas 7, nays 0 on first reading. Council File Number 16607, an ordinance appropriating a sum of $746,320.44 from unappropriated and anticipated revenue to provide for the expenditure thereof for the construction phase of the 2025 Green Light Go funding program, West 12th and Pittsburgh Avenue Signal Upgrades Project. Sponsored by Councilmember Troop, seconded by Councilmember Horton. The Council File Ordinance 16607, having been read, is hereby adopted on first reading by City Council. Members Brzezinski?
Yes.
Flores?
Yes.
Horton?
Yeah.
Poole?
Yes.
Shaw?
Yes.
Troop?
Yes.
Titus?
Yes.
City Council read and adopt Council File Ordinance 16607 by yeas 7, nays 0 on first reading. Council File Number 16608, an ordinance appropriating the sum of $205,474 from unappropriated and unanticipated revenue for the expenditure thereof. Funds are granted from the Pennsylvania DCED local share account to purchase a screener machine for the Bureau of Streets. Sponsored by Councilmember Troop, seconded by Councilmember Horton. The Council File Ordinance Number 16608, having been read, is hereby adopted on first reading by City Council. Members
Yes.
Brzezinski?
Nope. There you go.
Flores?
Yes.
Horton?
Yes.
Poole?
Yes.
Shaw?
Yes.
Troop?
Yes.
Titus?
Yes.
City Council read and adopt Council File Ordinance 16608 by yeas 7, nays 0 on first reading. Council President, this takes us to new business.
So I will, at this point, ask for a motion to move the agenda forward.
I need a first and second.
I move.
Second.
Any separations?
Yeah.
Number one.
Separate, was it number 9?
Number one.
And number 6.
1, 9, and 6.
Any other separations? Moving the balance of the agenda, council members Brzezinski, Flores,
Yes.
Horton, Poole, Shaw,
Yes.
Troop, and
Yes.
Titus.
Yes, we're going fast. Aren't
Separation number 1. Number 1 is sponsored by Councilmember Troop, seconded by Councilmember Poole. That Erie City Council designates East 3rd Street from French to Holland in honor of Fred Rush Jr., who was known for his many contributions to civic history, decades of public service, pioneering journalism, and deep community roots in Erie. Discussion?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to say words, but I don't know if Maurice would like to go first. I just wanted to say it gives me great honor to, do this proclamation and name this street sign while Mr. Rush is still with us. Sometimes we don't do this until after they have passed away, and unfortunately, that's not the best time to give someone their flowers. So I'm, with great privilege, going to be supporting this. I was willing to do it last year, but they wanted to do it this year during this time frame because of something significant, so I'm happy to see this on the agenda, and that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you.
Any other discussion?
Dr. Titus, thank you. I echo the words of Councilwoman Flores. Mr. Rush has been kind of like, before I really knew a lot about Mr. Rush, he kind of was like parenting me on the side as a teenager, and throughout, since I was a teenager. He'd always give me bits of information. Before I really knew who he was, I mean, he knew who I was, and knew my family and things like that. He would always give me information. I'm sure that he did that with everybody he came in contact with. He was I know he went to East High School, grew up on the Lower East Side. A few things about him. I went back through, can't read his whole bio, but I know he was a Vietnam War vet. He was one of the first black journalists in the city of Erie. He was a member of several administrations. He was a community liaison, which people talked about today, for Mayor Tullio. I know he was key, and he did make me aware that he played a big role in helping Larry Meredith, who was the first African American on City Council, to be elected. He was a big part of that campaign. And I know that he always spoke to me whenever he had a chance about being a family man. He felt like family was a big part of everything. He felt like church was a big part of everything, and also giving back to your community. He talked about that all the time to me. So I have great honor in bringing this forth to council, and also thanks to my other council members for support of this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other
Mr.
council?
President, I was all ready to give a little talk, but Mr. Troop said it all. Fred Rush is a gentle giant. He's been there through many, many, many different administrations, and he always spoke from the heart, but with his mind attached to it, which too many of us don't do. I'm for it all the way. Thank you.
Thank you. All right,
I just want to say a couple.
Go ahead. Yes.
Just a couple of short things about Mr. Rush. When I think of Fred, it just takes me back to when I first started with the city. He was one of my first friends that I met, and we went through, he helped me a lot, learning the ropes of the city. And later on, we stayed friends. We didn't see each other all the time, but we stayed friends anytime I saw him. And later on, he took my youngest son under his wing before they had a PALS program, or before it came back into play, because it was stagnant for a while. And I appreciate everything he's done for this community, for the city, for the state, and this is well-deserved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Titus, for letting me speak as well. I wish I had known Fred earlier. I met him in 2017, and I made an instant connection with him. Sometimes people really connect. And I love the fact, like Jasmine had said, that we are honoring him while he is still living. He is a very genuine person, and I love the cultures that respect their elders. He is filled with so much wisdom, and he is so compassionate. it is a privilege to know him, and we can learn from him as well. So it is so good that we are continuing the connection with our senior citizens. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'd like to say something also. I'd be remiss if I didn't say anything about Mr. Rush, whom I can't ever remember a time not knowing. I remember that neighborhood with Taylor Funeral Home, and we would run in and out of them houses over there. I remember calling him Uncle Fred earlier on because his nieces and nephews would call him Uncle Fred, and they spent a lot of time at my house. I remember him organizing the cotillions. I remember all the social clubs, the Soulsville Bowling League. I remember Booker T. Washington Center first got their head start, and I can remember countless meetings around my mother's table where community members engaged often about the issues of the day. The most thing I remember about Mr. Rush is every Sunday, including last Sunday, I see him at church. He always take me through my paces, Mo. Yeah, who on next? Who up next? You gotta be planning for your departure. I said, I ain't mind to do. Oh no, come sit down. He gave me education. I remember Mr. Rush. I know that Mr. Rush was the first black hired in Erie County as a county employee. And as much as I love Mr. Rush, all of it can be attributed to his mother, Miss Claudia Abdullah's grandmother. It's a joy going to church to see Mr. Rush and Mr. Johnson, Johnny Johnson. When I get there, they're so gracious with their time. And I'll say this last story. Your uncle was one of my mentors. He administered my oath of, he was one of my biggest confidants. I miss him much. And when he passed, I was talking to Mr. Rush at a little private meeting we had. I said, Mr. Rush, I think every young man, not that I'm young, but every man should have an older man that they can reach out to and talk to. I said, I know we don't see eye to eye on a lot of stuff, but I need an older man in my life. And there's not, I said, I respect some around here, but not a lot that I hold in the regard that I hold you. And so it's an honor. I am so grateful to you for having the vision to do this for Brother Fred. And his family should be ecstatic about it. When I think about Mr. Rush, I think about the limbs off of the Rush tree. I think about Christine. I think about Abdullah. I think about David. I think about Charles. And I think of all of the things that Miss Rush used to teach us at her footstep around her house on East 3rd Street. So thank you so much. I can't wait to attend that street designation. It is well-deserved and it is very, very timely. So thank you.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and call for the vote then, Lori.
Yes.
Flores?
Yes.
Horton?
Yes.
Pohl?
Yes.
Shaw?
Yes.
Troop?
Yes.
Titus?
Yes.
Okay, that takes us to number 6.
I just wanted to pull this. I was contacted through email by Mr. Courier, and I don't know if he's here today, but I want to bring this to the attention of making May ALS Awareness Month in the city. A few years ago, I knew of a woman that came down with this, and she wasn't old. She was a young, younger, middle-aged woman that within a couple of years, she had passed away, and she didn't get to meet her grandchildren, and it was very moving because she was first the person I thought of when this came in front of me. So, Mr. Courier said he is affected by this disease, And like many diseases, unless it's in your family or a friend or whatever, you never really hear of a lot of these diseases. And it brings you right down. It not only affects your ability to talk, to walk, to, just do daily chores. And so I just want to bring council and the city and make everyone aware that, May will be ALS month. And thank you.
Thank you. Any other?
I just wanted to comment that I always appreciate, as somebody who works in the medical field, when we are acknowledging a lot of these diseases that impact people's day-to-day lives. I personally don't have anybody who is impacted by ALS, but I do know that this disease completely alters people's lives. The only person that I know that has lived a long time with a disease is the actor Michael J. Fox, and he's been a great advocate for this disease and put a lot of resources and funding into the research to prolong, life for people with ALS. Just a lot of diseases aren't getting the acknowledgement and recognition for the strides that we made over the last 20 years, but when you lose someone young, it's really noticeable. So that's all I really wanted to say was I'm appreciative that you put this forward.
Thank you. Any other comment? We'll go ahead and call for the vote.
Voting on the resolution, members Brzezinski.
Yes.
Flores.
Yes.
Horton.
Yes.
Cole.
Yes.
Shaw.
Yes.
Troop.
Yeah.
And Titus.
Yes.
Okay, number 9. Sponsored by Mr. Troop, seconded by Councilmember Shaw. Proper city officials are authorized and directed to enter into an easement agreement with Flagship City Food Hall, 22 North Park Row and 508 State, Erie, Pennsylvania, for the use of public sidewalk as outdoor eating areas at 22 North Park Row and 508 State. The outdoor eating areas within State Street and Park Row, North Park Row, right-of-ways in accordance with the project drawing as prepared by the applicant Flagship City Food Hall. Discussion?
Yes. I asked for this to be separated out. I'm asking my colleagues to table it till we find out just exactly what that means for the easement. State Street is a main artery used by many. I thought it was just State Street, but it's also North Park Road. And there are some outdoor eating there already. I just need to know how far, what, they sent us a picture, but it doesn't, you can't really, I'd like the opportunity to go out and measure and see what they're taking from the citizens or what we're giving them, or if we're giving anything away from the citizens that we perhaps should deliberate on a little bit more. It's not that I'm against it, because I'm not. I just want to know what I'm voting on. And we just did one of these for Erie Insurance, and I know that corner, and they have, that thing reaches out, and it kind of narrows. And so I think that you all would want to know that what you're voting on as well.
I support us doing our research just because we do have a large community that uses medical equipment and walkers and scooters, and I want to make sure that we always maintain the rite of passage for pedestrians.
So we have a request for a motion. Do we have a second for that motion to table?
Need a second.
I'll second it.
We'll go ahead and call for the vote then on that motion to table.
Motion by Councilmember Horton, seconded by Councilmember Flores to table number 9 regarding the easement. Members Brzezinski.
Before we do that, can we hear from the administration? Do you care if it's tabled? It got this far, it's,
Well, I just want to make sure that now that we've got the first and the second on the motion, are we allowed to?
Just slight background. The solicitor's office handles the easement documentation. It's got to go through you guys first before we actually do the actual paperwork. We have a standard form that talks about the limitations or what's included for signage and the spacing. And usually the diagram that was referenced is what's attached. So I'd say it's just tabling the decision. And if you guys need to do to visit the site or need a different drawing, then we can reach out to the EDDC who's requesting it to provide something additional. So.
Yes, the drawing, it's true they supplied the drawing. Again, I'm back to newspapers versus reading on computer, because it doesn't necessarily, it tells you numbers wise or how, but you don't really get to know what that is in relationship to what's there. And so they can give you a bunch of numbers, say, yeah, we're going to keep this here, and then you go out there and you find out that there's 3 feet of sidewalk left. And I don't think anyone's done that.
Yeah, so I think that's fair, but this would go through you guys first, and then it comes to the solicitor's office, and we keep track of the easements because they have to either get renewed or have to make sure they have proof of insurance for stuff like that. Okay.
So we do have the first, and then we have the second, so we'll go ahead and call for the vote.
Voting to table, members Brzezinski,
Yes.
Flores,
Yes.
Horton,
Yes.
Poole,
Yes.
Schaaf,
Yes.
Troop,
Yes.
Titus.
Yes.
Okay, resolution tables 7-0.
Mr. President?
Yes.
And I don't want to prolong or keep any business from doing. I'm acutely aware of the construction season as well. And so I would hope that we would do whatever we have to be done by the next meeting as to not prolong that, should we elect to approve it. I don't want to prolong it.
Yeah, I think we just need to make sure we have the ADA compliance and making sure we have the spacing that is required for people to get through the sidewalk.
I got a tape measure in the car, too.
We can reach out with the solicitor, and I would encourage all of us, if we want to go down and see it ourselves, that we do that before the next meeting. But we can also request that, like, maybe some actual photos with the measurements included versus the drawing. So maybe that would help create just a better visual. Thank you.
And I am a little confused because I've eaten outside there before, so.
Yeah, there are some out there already, and so I don't think they're all the same dimensions because their storefront places are different, but it's something that's commonly done. But we can't do what's been commonly done commonly. I think that we owe it to ourselves, first of all, to do some due diligence, so you just know what you're voting on.
Do we have any others that were separated, or was that the list?
This goes to committee reports.
Okay. All right, so we will go ahead and go into committee reports. I will start with you, Councilor Troop.
Thank you, Dr. Titus. I don't have an official report today, so I'll just give my time to Councilwoman Paul.
I really don't have a committee report this week either, but I just wanted to sort of not answer the people that stood up here today, but unless we're in other people's shoes, we don't realize what they go through. And that's with anybody. I was down in South Carolina a few weeks ago, and I got to tour a plantation. And it was beautiful. The grounds were kept up. They were just beautiful. And until I got to the part where there was a grave site with just 3 graves of slaves, and into a little house, it would have been a duplex that housed a couple families of slaves. We don't really know.
Jason goes to that meeting.
You know, what
Idiot.
people go through.
His room.
And the history there. And it's not just down there, it's here. We voted on keeping history today. And I think most anything that comes in front of us from the Historic Commission, unless it's something, not good for the city, I will probably be in favor for, because I've grown up in, through the 70s, 80s, and some of the 90s also, where they knocked down a lot of our history. in this city. Because there was never anyone to say, what are you doing? Because it was at the time, well, we'll knock this down to make bigger and better. And that bigger and better is now knocked down. So the history is just long gone. And anything that we can keep to preserve that, I'll go for. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Flores.
I don't have a very long committee report. I will also agree that preserving our history is important. Erie has been in like a time capsule for the last 40 years, so we do still have a lot of rich history that those of us who are stewards of our city can make sure that they're there for the next generation and the generation after. So I take it very importantly that we are designating certain buildings because, like you said, a lot of things were knocked down. We have a rich African-American history in our city, and a lot of the current citizens today who didn't grow up with the NAACP and participating in a lot of the Rush family efforts and the Horton family efforts would not even know today. So I always like to bring honor to the path that they have started for us. And, you know, as a first-generation Mexican-American woman who's half Puerto Rican, our history is what got us here, and if we don't know the history, we're doomed to repeat the history. So we have to know where we come from. But I also just wanted to let the community know that the city does have large item pickup, and you can call and get 3 large items taken out of your home or out of your yard. Every trash pickup you have until it's all gone. The phone number is 814-870-1550. I'm a first-time homeowner, so I'm doing lots of, outside maintenance and getting rid of things I don't need. And it's a privilege for us in the city to have the garbage pickup that we do have. It is a cost to us taxpayers, but also knowing what we have available is important. Our trash pickup people will pick up leaves and twigs and branches and trimmings. You just have to put them in a bin in an open container and they will take them out of your hair. I also wanted to say that with the weather warming up, pothole repair is important. We just allocated $1.5 million to take care of our streets. We might not think that, our streets are important, but they are important. They help us be able to get around the city. They help our cars not have as much wear and tear. So if you do have a spot or an area that is concerning to you, please call 814-870-1340 with the nearest address or cross-street description or location of where that exact pothole is so we can get it addressed. Our guys and ladies do a great job of making sure that they are trying to take care of any calls that they are receiving. So I just wanted to say, be safe out there, drivers. Please look out for everybody who is in the streets or walking to get around the city because some sidewalks are closed off that, we have to have more patience. We're in a vehicle. Some of these people are using medical equipment, walkers, and just trying to get around the city as safely as possible. We do not need to be an added factor to that. I see so many left-hand turns almost taking out pedestrians every day, and I work with the intellectually disabled community. I've worked with the elderly community. They need more time than what we're giving them. So let's just be a little bit more compassionate. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Horton.
Yeah, I'll be brief. I attended the Land Bank meeting a couple weeks ago and had a great talk with Aaron Snippert about where we're at. But one of the things that came out of it is this body, council, representative on the Land Bank, and so I'm really pleased that you all took care of that. Two, it was holding them up from having the election. And I apologize to you all because my injuries prevented me from attending those meetings early on regularly. So I believe that it probably caused that delay. And now it's May. And those are voting members. So thank you so much for pushing that up on the agenda today. I just want to make a couple comments. I was glad to see the Apartment Association gentleman come in and speak. Because we want to make things better too. And like it or not, we are partners. And it's a lot easier when, how can you have two people in a partnership and they're not going the same way? And so there are some questions to be answered. I still feel like I feel from our study session. I didn't really hear a lot, but the one thing I really want to say is while the apartment association is here, and whites in this city have enjoyed probably a couple 100-year head start, and in this country, a 400-year head start, to the point where black GIs weren't allowed to homestead property when everyone else was. And so it's not that black people aren't astute. It's not that they're not sharp enough to do. It's that you had a 400-year head start. And it perturbs me when those conversations occur and people kind of like it's something you did. And I'm going somewhere with this. Where I'm going with it is that black home ownership is probably only about 4%. And so when you hear people come in and you're talking about housing, property managers, oh, we manage a lot of houses, $10 fee raise, fix all of that, which is kind of, he told us all we have to do is raise the prices. And I don't subscribe to that. We may very well have to do that, but we should examine everything else before there. And we've had some internal discussions about where money is sieved out of the city. And we need to address that, not like now, but like right now. Because the kind of money that hasn't been coming where it's supposed to be coming, and the type of problems that we're having, and the issues with housing, it's crazy. And I plan to talk to the president and the mayor again. I know that you're moving on these things, but it ain't happening fast enough with that entity. And I hate the solicitor left, because we should send a letter, not a kind letter. We should send a letter demanding that he come before this body and explain that stuff, how you haven't paid in all those years, and how you're still not paying. It ain't right. I know I'm new here. Some of you have been here longer. Some of you have reached out. I don't think that entity has afforded us the respect that's due. It's not an ego thing either. But how can you as an authority, in all your autonomy, who's a partnership, financial partnership, and we request a meeting and we don't get a response? Like hell. Like hell. And it's going to get really, really public, really, really, really fast if we don't address it. And I'm not talking about in a couple weeks or a couple months. I'm talking about like right now. I think Jason should send a check, a letter, right now, demanding payment, not asking all that other stuff. Because nothing gets somebody in front of you till you start asking for their money. And so I'm on record that I want the solicitor to send a letter to the parking authority asking where's our money. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Schaaf.
Thank you, Dr. Titus. Thank you for everybody who spoke today. Ms. Treiber and Mr. Brown, I would like to speak with you at your convenience and mine. And today's not a good day, unfortunately. But thank you for your words this morning and everyone else who spoke. I did go to the historic preservation meeting and am happy with what's going on and what we're going to be seeing forward, and I'm not going to address that today. I, as a waterworks person, just to confirm, it's Water Week, and there is that Saturday, May 9th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Richard S. Washaleski Water Treatment Plant on 399 Summerheim Drive. That is a family-friendly event with games and giveaways. But they are also asking for our input, and many people have received this information, but sometimes you just open up your mail and sort of toss it without reading it. And just very, very quickly, we as valued customers want to know at Erie Waterworks, our mission is to provide high-quality drinking water to our community. While that commitment will never change, the challenges and opportunities facing water utilities today are very different than they were just a generation ago. And for that reason, they are beginning an important effort. They're going to do a strategic, the first strategic plan in more than 20 years. And they need our input. So from April 1st through July 17th, they're inviting all the customers to participate in a short 10-minute survey. And the survey is one of the most important parts of the planning process because it gives them a direct insight into your expectations, concerns, and priorities. And it can be completed online, and they do have a link that they sent in the mail for those of you who deal with the water department. And there is a customer service number, 814-870-8000. And they are really wanting to understand the important issues that you customers have, and your community engagement is important to them. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll keep my report brief. I feel like much of my time is spent in meetings, but we had some really productive meetings last week. Met with some of those individuals from the planning department and the administration around the historic review designation process and trying to identify gaps and where the process is kind of getting backlogged and what we can do to improve it. I think that there's some good ideas that are coming forward. So my biggest worry is that we as a governing body, just by the way the ordinance is written, that we might be slowing things down, and what can we do to address this and make sure that we're keeping development and preservation moving forward in the right direction. I do want to acknowledge several of the individuals who spoke today, and I hear you, and there are a lot of things that are broken right now, and there are a lot of people who are trying to, in different avenues that they are in and roles that they hold, trying to address different parts of various broken systems. It is incredibly frustrating, I think, at the sometimes backward steps when we're supposed to be doing forward, but the process, how slow it moves sometimes to rectify and fix things that have been broken for so long. But I don't want anyone to feel like that they're not being heard and that we're not committed to doing the things that we can and should do as a governing body. And in closing, I know we were going to have a meeting around just the ABCs, the advisories, the boards, or the authorities, the boards, and the commissions. We've have a study session that was going to be designated to that, but right now we're going to push up and talk about PFM next week. Their report that came through, I think there's a lot that we as a body and that the public need to hear, and so that will be happening next week. So we're still working on tightening up the process of how do we identify when a gap or a vacancy is occurring, who is appointing, how are we streamlining those applications, and just know that we're all committed to doing those things and making those things happen. I strongly encourage the public to pay attention all the time, but especially next week, we're going to be engaging and starting some very big conversations, specifically around the budget. And I know the administration is going to take lead here, but we're hoping to all be in unison as we start to engage this process way more in advance and not waiting till October to start having some of these difficult discussions based on some of the reports and stuff that we're starting to see. So as we go into that study session next week, to please make sure that you're attending, paying attention to, and engaging with all of us on that. And with that, I will go ahead and pass over for a report from the controller.
Thank you, Dr. Titus.
Wait, I'm going to hold on one second.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Sorry, I'm not the controller, I'm the mayor. I forget sometimes.
Maybe we can switch for a day.
If you'd like.
A lot going on in the controller's office, as usual. We just had a really great meeting with Human Resources. So we're talking about processes and engagement on our third floor, which is really the core of this building, which is, what the taxpayers elected me to do. So just making sure that we have policies and procedures in place and that our processes are easily able to be understood by both our employees and by our constituents, and just trying to move our office forward and modernize everything that we do, and so we're sticking to that.
Thank you. Mayor.
I wanted to apologize on behalf of the solicitor. He had to run to another meeting. But Councilor Horton, I did text him your request. I do want to say, just on that particular issue, we do not have a signed agreement, so that will be the answer we hear back, but that doesn't mean that we don't send the letter, because I'm in full agreement. I've let him know it's a priority, and he's working on it. I want to reiterate Dr. Titus's comments about the budget study session next week, May 14th. Looking forward to having that conversation with council. PFM will be here to make a full presentation. We hope the public will also attend or tune in. I also want to note that the administration will be meeting with the Apartment Association. They were here today expressing their recommendations and concerns. We will be attending their monthly meeting on May 19th. Any member of council who'd like to attend with us, you're welcome to. They are billing it as a town hall. We are going to take questions and engage in conversation. As was noted, we are partners. So we will be there to answer their questions and have that conversation, and council, you're welcome to attend with us. I just want to address a few things. It's very difficult when we have public comment and we don't respond, which I understand why, but then everyone leaves and sometimes there's misinformation and we don't get to address it. So we're trying to work on that in my office. How do we put out information that we hear that maybe needs to be clarified? And so in the absence of a better system, I just want to quickly say a few things. First, Mr. Keyes noted about the housing plan having a goal of 250 units and not including, I think he's referring to Mr. Crenshaw's project. I want to be very clear that the housing plan put out by Infinite Erie has a goal of 250 units. It does not say how we're going to get there. I think there are a couple projects in the pipeline, but there is nothing in there that says that 250 is limited to certain projects. We commend and appreciate Mr. Crenshaw's work. The quicker we get to 250, the better, because I think the plan also says we are short 6,000 units. So we have a long way to go in this area. I just want to be clear that that plan is not excluding anyone. In response to the conversation about reentry, I want to clarify the city's role in this. So the city has historically paid for a caseworker for the reentry program out of CDBG dollars. That was done for many, many, many years. When we were asked this year to change the funding, so my understanding is not to send it to the Y, but to send it to the county. We were simply asked to move our funds, which we agreed to do. We were asked, I think, this year to fund a position and a half, not just one position. I will say to council, when you approve the CDBG contracts in June, I think that's when Deborah Smith and her team will bring them. You'll see it there. We can have more discussion at that time, but I don't want council to not know or understand what the city's role is. It is that, it is funding a position. It is actually a caseworker out of our CDBG dollars. And then lastly, I do want to address the comments and appreciate the comments today about inclusivity and representation. So first, with regard to an African American council, Mr. Keyes noted all the councils we have. He is absolutely right. The previous administration had a council that I believe was called a Council on Historic Black Organizations. It included mainly, I believe, the Divine Nine, and then also some historic black organizations. We felt that that was limited, that it needed broader representation. And so admittedly, we're trying to figure out how to do that. So we have been slow to put that council in place. We hear loud and clear today, we need to prioritize it. We would welcome suggestions to make sure that that council is representative without being unwieldy, which is always the problem. Having a council of 60 people makes things difficult, but it is absolutely necessary, and we are trying to make it more representative, which is what has slowed us down. So we ask for that grace. We hear the feedback. We will prioritize moving forward. And lastly, on the conversation around the strengthening police and community partnership, I would say much of the same. So just to be very clear, the SPCP is not a police accountability measure. It is a table that is built to have conversations about how to build trust in the community. It is the beginning of an initiative. It is not the full initiative. So when we think about community policing, we always hear talk about PAL and how strong PAL is. PAL is a piece of that. The SPCP is a piece of that. We have much more to do. So we are trying to assemble a table to have the conversation about what more is needed. We understand that clarifying the way the SPCP was put together was a mistake. We have some clarification we need to do. I will say, and not being defensive, but in our defense, the previous way this was handled was the members of the council were handpicked. We sought to go out to the community and ask for applications and recommendations. We understand that that's caused discussion, which I think, to a point made earlier, is part of democracy. So we receive that feedback. We appreciate the feedback. We will take it now and make the process better. But I just want to say that the way we were trying to do this was to increase transparency and representation, and we apologize for the fact that it has been, I think, received in a different way. So we will be going back to the drawing board and making sure that what we build is a good start. It is not the end, and it will not be the end of this conversation. So with that, I also just want to add that my administration, Chief of Staff and I were in Allentown and Bethlehem yesterday. We had wonderful meetings with the mayor of Allentown and the mayor of Bethlehem. We also toured Bethlehem's economic development efforts. There was conversation today about wages. We 100% agree. Had a great conversation with the economic development director of Lehigh Valley about how they're bringing jobs and industry to that valley. I think Erie has a lot to learn. So we spent the day there in those conversations, and I look forward to bringing some of that back to Erie. So with that, thank you.
Thank you. All right, just to remind council that we do have a finance meeting after this meeting, and then we have the study session next week. But with that, we can go ahead and adjourn the public meeting.
City Council adjourns at 11:39 a.m. Council members Titus, Brzezinski, Flores, Horton, Pohl, Schaaf, and Troop.